to know and like you, like they did with all those weird spots you used to. Then we'll do the insider stuff for the business, because that's what people like. And then, of course, whatever questions come up.
Right. And you know Nick, right?
Yeah.
Yes, good to see you.
Just $24.98. Plus, save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Card. So, Pro, now that you know, let's get started.
Yeah, I'm glad Tillerson's out.
Credit offer subject to credit approval. Can't be
By the way, he goes to the
He was a pussy, man. We need someone that'll not afraid
You know
to
what I'm saying? I just
bomb.
No,
Not afraid
what is he
to
gonna
bomb
do?
North Korea.
Jeremy,
Guys,
let me ask you something, bro.
Why don't you start with Pro Auto today?
hey, good to
I don't know,
see
it's an
you.
idea.
How are you guys?
Oh, he's not calling in?
On Tuesday, but Brent probably is. I'll let you know.
Home show's over and all that good stuff. I want to get you guys out for lunch and stop enjoying it.
Just say no, just like drugs.
Yeah.
Just say no.
I am like a drug. Once you guys don't want to leave me, you'll never want to leave me. What's up, man? How are you?
Once you start working with him, you'll get the shades.
Yeah, I'm good. Life's good, man.
844 Larson Tax, or check them out at LarsonTaxRelief.com. That's 844 Larson Tax.
From Bob.
LARSON Tax. Larson Tax Relief is the only tax relief and audit organization I endorse on my referral list at referralist.com. Save more.
You know, it's all corporate speak.
Okay.
I do like him. I think he's the best that we've ever had. I mean, you've been here, like Hogan, Mays, and
I was here for every owner going back to GE.
yeah.
Below, or Gaylord, Below.
Did you talk to her? Or she
Yeah, I mean, I had them all. Gaylord.
Yeah.
Clear Channel. I'm an old, I got the most seniority in the fucking building. Not that that matters.
You really do, don't you?
Yeah.
He's the oldest guy in the building.
Yeah. As far as seniority. Actually, I might be. I don't know. I might be the oldest guy in the building.
You sure Corey hasn't been around from the beginning?
Oh, Corey.
You guys have, you want to take a look at your calendars and just let me know what looks like it may work for you?
Yeah.
Tuesday
I can't do, so if you can work around that, I can probably work another day.
Wednesday's never good for us, so yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure we can find one.
Let me know. I can come up north to you guys or whatever you want to do. So, okay.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Have a great show, you guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
See
See you, Jeremy.
See ya.
Love you, man.
See you, bro.
Fucking sales guys.
See, I love the sales guys.
Hey, Nick, how long you been with K&H?
3 years not concurrent.
And where were you after that, before that?
I took a break from K&H and went to Superior Products, which is a competitor.
And what side of the business did you come in on? Like sales?
For K&H, I came into the phone room.
Oh, okay. So you learned it right from the ground up.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you do before that?
I've done different marketing jobs, paintball field. I was the GM and marketing manager for quite a while.
Why marketing? Why'd you get into marketing?
It's interesting. It's
You
like,
just
it has
love
an equal mix of psychology. I kind of like the broader band of it, right? Sales is one-on-one. I like the broader band of marketing to get in front of a bunch of people.
And you need those kind of people.
What's that?
And you need those kind of people.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. We were a little late getting the phones on, so we're not filled up yet, which means you can get right through at 303-713-TALK. This is the only show of its kind you'll ever hear about like this. I mean, or ever hear. Really, truly, the only show of its kind this hour brought to you by Pro Auto Care. I've known Al probably the entire 26 years he's been in business. Yeah, I know people. I know people. So anyway, if you need help, information, referrals, you give me a call. That's what we do here. The commercials are part of the show. They really are. And we have no problems talking about the pros and cons of everything you do in life. We get directly involved too, like with court suits and lawsuits and going to get stuff like, let's talk about Jim Weiss. Let's talk about that weasel at 44th Auto. First, let me tell you about somebody good. Pro Auto Care. They're your car nanny. These guys are the real deal. Alaramas has this deal going on right now you can't beat. The synthetic oil and filter change, synthetic blend. Then you have topping all the fluids, tire rotation, wiper blades. It's called the Pro Pack.
How much?
$28.95. You can't beat it. No, seriously, it is $28.95. You can't even buy the parts. That's Pro Auto Care. 303 Pro Auto. 303 Pro Auto. 2 locations: Evans and I-25, and near Bowles and Santa Fe. And if you have any questions on anything we advertise, give us a call. So we're going to talk to you about your problems, but I also have a guest today, Ted Rowland from K&H Home Solutions. He's got his marketing guy here, Nick. And listen, Ted, I've known you. Has to be 30 years, really. I think it's 30 years, right? How long have you been at the helm at K&H?
I've been at the helm. Let's see, we've had K&H
that's
since
when
1995. So
I met you then.
Yeah.
I've known you since he took over from the original owner.
Now wait.
This business been in business 62 years. Yes. Well,
I sold him computers 20 years ago.
Really?
That is true.
95
originally.
Okay, so well, welcome, Ted. It's really good to see you again after all these. No, I mean I've been in touch with you. He's been on the referral list the whole time. K&H Home Solutions used to be K&H Windows. These guys, they just do a great job. And you don't just stay in business this long without doing things right. We'll talk about that coming up, and about the whole business in general. People don't realize that in the window business there are very few manufacturers. Maybe a lot of assemblers, but when it comes to vinyl and extrusions, we'll talk about some of the inside stuff, because I think the main thing is the company and the installation, really. Now, obviously, there are crap windows out there. So, welcome, 303-713-TALK. Gordon wants to talk about Social Security.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, man, I got a phone call the other day, a voicemail saying, Thomas G. Martino, it has come to our attention that you will be eligible for Social Security in a few months, in 8-9 months. I went, who are they talking to? They must have got my father mixed up with me. And then I thought, holy crap, it really does happen. People do age. Gordon, what do you want to talk about?
Well, let me try and be as coherent as I can.
Okay.
I turned 62 in May.
Oh, you're young.
My health isn't all that great, so I was going to take it early.
Okay.
And I knew that I was.
It's almost never a good idea, Gordon. But go ahead.
Right. Very poor health, and I'm getting that looked at as a side. To see how bad it is and whether I might qualify for disability because I have heart disease.
Well, when you get Social Security at 62, do you also get Medicare? I don't think you do.
I know I'm on Medicaid because of my income level.
Okay, so that doesn't matter. Okay, so you have poor health. You're thinking about taking Social Security.
Well, here's the thing. I went up to talk to them about it, and they gave me an appointment for the 19th of next month to come in and sit down and bring everything I need. Because I was going to originally get about $11.40, and I already know that at 25% cut it's $8.10. And I'm thinking, that's not great, but I could survive on that. And then the lady mentioned she's going over, she's got a computer, she's reviewing my employment history, and she goes, oh, you were under para. And I go, what? And she goes, did you work for the state? And I said, yes, in the mid-'90s, I worked 6 years for the state. And she said, then you're going to be severely penalized.
Right, because those years don't count. That's what she means. It's not a penalty. They don't punish you. It's just it doesn't count.
Yeah, but he should get the money from para for those years.
I don't think...
Well, no, here's the deal, and it's a separate issue. I mean, I did not pay into Social Security for those 6 years.
Right,
and I
that's
get
right.
That, and that's fair, but what I did pay into, which would have been $8.10, and I looked into it. I mean, I was shocked.
Keep going.
Once I got over it.
Keep going.
They can take as much as 60% of what I had coming, which means it would leave me with $324 a month.
Now, wait a minute. Who can take 60%?
Social Security.
But why?
Because
of that lousy 6 years?
Well, I don't know that. That's the question.
All right,
now,
we need to find someone.
I didn't work 20 years for the state. No, there's a law, and it was done during the Carter administration.
But let's just, okay, for those listening.
Legally, they can do it.
For those listening, when you are eligible for Social Security, they take what are called work quarters, and you have to have a minimum number of quarters, and they take your highest earning quarters, and then they figure out your benefit. However, if you have para, you are not eligible for Social Security. But I have never come across this part.
Both.
Right. Well, yes, you can. However, I don't know if 6 years vests you.
That I don't know either.
We need someone who knows about security. I'm hoping that our friends at APO Financial might know. So let's talk to them and see if they know about para and Social Security. I can't believe you're being penalized for not paying into the system 6 years. You're being penalized 60%? Is that what you're saying?
I still think it comes back to his quarters. Don't you think?
I went to their website, Tom.
Yes.
And it spells out in actually fairly plain English what they can... And see...
Go ahead. You keep saying then. Go. It spells out in plain English what? What does it spell out?
The penalties, or what I call a penalty, or what they can withhold from paying you. Let's be more accurate.
Go ahead. It spells out in plain English what?
What they can withhold from your Social Security benefits for being on para. But it doesn't say... Does it have, though,
does it depend on how long you were on para, or you paid into para?
What I got out of it, right, it doesn't matter how long, it matters how much.
Okay.
That's what I got out of it.
So the money that you paid into para, what happens to that money?
When I left, the following year I took it.
Okay, so you did get that money. So, Mark, that would tell me he was not vested.
Yeah.
Okay, we know that. However, I would like to talk to APO Financial about penalizing. They had some pretty good recommendations for me, for example, coming up on retirement. It really benefits you to keep it there. You make a lot of money keeping it there.
He's really not getting penalized, though. I don't even like that word. How's he getting penalized for it? If he got that money he paid into para, and he's only got X amount of quarters with Social Security, I mean, isn't it just the math, or is it truly penalized?
Well,
if he paid into Social Security for 30 years.
To answer that, it's not a penalty.
Okay.
What it is, it's an offset. Okay, so we're going to find out about that. Billy says he's got some information on scams. Billy, what's happening?
Hi, Tom.
Hey.
I haven't heard you guys talk about this. I'm pretty sure it's a scam. You get a call from Brush, Colorado, and it's about health care.
Well, it can be from anywhere because they spoof the numbers nowadays. It doesn't matter. The return numbers are not true. So what about it? You got a call about health care, and what did they say?
It's an automated woman's voice first, and it asks if you've had any major heart attacks or...
And what are they trying to sell you or get you for?
Health care for $150 for a single person, $250 for a family.
But why do you say automatically it's a scam? It's a solicitation, but what makes it a scam?
Well, because they keep calling me back and hanging up on me because I told them I didn't want to talk to them, and it was definitely that strong accent that we hear.
Okay, well then just ignore it. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Just ignore the dang thing.
Australian?
Is there something you wanted to warn us about? Or, I mean, people need to know, not to sign up for health care based on a phone call. In fact, not to sign up for anything based on a solicitation. If you get a solicitation call, you get the information. And if you're in the market for that, whatever they call about, say, thank you for the call. I have your information. I'm going to shop around and consider you. Now, I'm not saying they're automatically scams when they call you. What I'm saying is it should not be your deciding factor. So I don't know what else to tell you, Billy. If they're calling you about health care, good. If you have anything we've not heard about before, is there anything you wanted to tell us specifically?
I just think with the prices that they said, $150 to $250 for a family, a lot of desperate people would go for that.
You're right. However, you're absolutely right. But people who do that based on a phone call, they God, what Mark has an expression?
Can't fix stupid.
Exactly.
But that could be it might be catastrophic care because they're starting to have those plans again now.
Right. And catastrophic care does not fulfill the requirements, I believe.
No, but it doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, there's no penalty.
There's no penalty. I mean, I guess technically it still matters.
303-713-TALK. K&H Home Solutions in the house with us today. You can call about anything you'd like. 303-713-8255. Okay, fix it 24/7. Listen carefully. We're only going to do 10 of the $39 specials where you can fix and check your furnace. And I say fix and check, meaning minor little things like adjustments. So you will adjust your furnace, clean your furnace, and maintain your furnace. They will lubricate, and they take it apart to the extent they can. They take the blower cage out, they take out the burners, they clean everything, they put it back together. It's almost like a reconditioning. They change the filter, and all of this is done for $39 for the next 10 people. If they find problems, they'll let you know, but there is no pressure, there's no high sale, it's not high pressure. This is simply to get your furnace running. And I'm telling you that 85% of the time they don't find problems. But they make your furnace run like new for only $39. The people who have had this done are astounded. Give them a call, 10 people only, 720-526-3939. You'd have to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for this somewhere else. $39, 720-526-3939.
Kid, you're the sole owner right now, right?
Yeah.
That crash downtown, southbound I-25 near 20th. That's cleared down for way too. Still residual backups on that section, so watch out for that. And up in the high country, got a lane block on westbound I-70 at the Eisenhower Tunnel there due to construction. That's causing delays there. Know your route ahead of time with the Total Traffic app, powered by Traffic Paramount. Weather forecast. Mostly sunny today, beautiful. Jeez, come on. 55. Right now, a few clouds above, and we're sitting at 38 with your traffic and weather.
Anything specific that you would love to see covered today, Ted? Or Nick?
Want to talk about this new siding product we have?
The new what?
Composite siding product we have.
Okay, good. Well, it's a composite siding. What is it composite of?
So it's long strand polymers.
Long strand
and
polymers.
Minerals, which happens to be talc.
Talc. Really?
Yeah, which makes it incredibly water resistant, incredibly strong. So it's actually molecularly bonded.
So the polymers are a plastic?
The polymer is essentially a plastic.
Like a vinyl?
Yeah.
Combined with talc.
The best thing would be, the best comparison is like, are you familiar with handguns? Like a Glock handgun spring is a polymer, very durable plastic, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
What kind of warranty?
You can tell he's had it on the training.
It's a lifetime. Lifetime is the first owner, 50-year prorated.
Will it get? And you're talking about, what's the mineral again?
Talc.
Like in talcum powder.
Yeah, very similar, except it's obviously stronger. It is not the powder. It would be rock form.
Well, no, I understand. The talcum's work. But what is talc good for? What was that? Talc is very water resistant.
That's its biggest plus, is that it's not water soluble.
That's cool. Who makes this?
We have a company called Everlast.
Chelsea Building Products. Everlast is the name brand of it.
And is the color impregnated?
Yes. It is throughout the entire substrate with an acrylic capstock.
With an acrylic what?
Capstock, so that the top of it is acrylic, which would be like brake lights.
And it is impact resistant.
Yeah, very.
Question.
Will it punch a hole through it, or will it dent it? It would punch a hole through it if it was big enough, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
It would be pretty hard to do that with any kind of polymer, though.
Yeah, nothing.
Even
Nothing's
vinyl
get
siding.
proof, right?
But it won't dent, is what I'm asking.
It bounces
You
off.
would
Or
probably get a little dent on it. They do carry a hail warranty though, where they will cover everything past your homeowner's insurance.
Really?
That's pretty cool too.
It's an outrageous warranty. It's very, very strong.
What's the name of it again?
Everlast, all caps.
That's funny. Everlast.
It's not hardy though.
Everlast.
it's not Hardy. We do Hardy as well.
I know this.
Do you like
Everlast ball
hardy?
Oh.
I mean, obviously you like it yourself, but how does, if you had to put on your house, would you use a hardy? What would you use?
Well, I've got steel on my house now. I've had steel on my house for years. So, yeah.
Do you want to promote your
vinyl coated steel? Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. It's really good. It's really good stuff.
So never paint?
Never. Can you?
It would be easy, but you could paint it, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to, though. You ruin it.
But no, you can change color if you want to change color.
It's really...
You want to think that through before you put it on.
I love this pink. I'm going to love that forever.
Remember, it's testosterone to support healthy testosterone. Don't miss out.
Is it called Everlast 2? No, Everlast. I'm looking at it. Just go to everlastsiding.com and you'll find it. Everlastsiding.com.
Do they do a roofing material too?
Michael Brown, afternoons.
Not that I'm aware of.
Simmons College Library in Boston tells students not to say God bless you when somebody sneezes because they consider that microaggression against Islam. You know, that's cultural. Join me Tuesday at 4.
What, you don't agree?
I'm Tom Martino, and I want to tell you about stem cell therapy in this way. Most people do not need it when they go to Centeno Schultz. If you go to a chiropractor's office and they're pushing this amniotic fluid and they're lying to you and calling it stem cell, they will give you that injection whether you need it or not. They just one size fits all. That's all. No imagery, nothing. They just give you needles. Centeno Schultz, most of the people do not need stem cell therapy because it's not going to work and it's not optimum. That's where doctors come in at Centeno Schultz, and since they've been doing this the longest and they know the industry, they know the category, here's what they do. They will recommend other therapies if you need them, like a PRP, platelet-rich plasma, or some other kind of treatment. And that's where the advantage is with a medical clinic with real doctors and real living stem cell therapy. Don't pay for stem cells if you don't need them. And if you do, and if they think they'll help with your hip, back, shoulder, hands, knees, most ACL tears, they'll tell you. But that's where you have options with doctors that use real stem cell therapy and other options. And they have, of course, even surgery available if you absolutely need it. Go to a true clinic. 303-963-9201. 303-963-9201, and that's Centeno Schultz. Let's talk and see what people think about life. Like Michael's got a window problem, and Jim wants to talk about moving pods. Jess wants to talk about a house without a CO. That's very interesting. Mark needs a recommendation for an auto shop. So, Mike, let's talk about your window problem. By the way, we do have K&H Home Solutions with us, and they do replacement windows. What's going on, Michael?
Yes, I have a window. I don't know. I mean, I think it was installed by a previous owner. It's a Monarch Accent. I don't know.
Are they? I don't know if they're the original builder grade or not. The names of the windows. The name of the window. I mean, it's called Monarch.
Monarch Accent 220/Prism 320. Well, I called Cage, I think yesterday, and they said they referred me to another company.
Why, was it a warranty issue?
No, it's not a warranty. I'm sure it's not under warranty.
But you're trying to match the window parts, or what?
I just want to get it repaired.
Oh, that's probably why.
It's a little plastic piece. I'm not sure it can be repaired. It's a little plastic piece, the little thing with kind of...
What's the name of our window company that repairs windows? Are they out of business now?
Is
the
it
ones
TrueView?
We loved them.
No. Give me just a second.
It's TrueView, isn't it?
No, the one that
did
missionary work.
Give me a second. Right. I'll tell them exactly who.
All right. But anyway, keep going, Michael.
I was referred to TrueView, Colorado. I did send them a photo of and I haven't got a response. But I'm just not sure if there's any possibility of getting the window repaired.
5280, isn't it, Mark? 5280 window glass and screen repair?
They sold, and I'm pretty sure Suzanne's right, it sold to TrueView, but I got to look on the referral list real quick.
So we'll give you a recommendation, Michael, but that's all we can do. Now, you guys, you repair what you install, obviously. You came out to my house 15 years later and did something for my window. I couldn't even believe it. But let's talk about brand names for a second, Ted. really, can't you give any... Now, seriously, let's get down to the business of the industry. I want to educate consumers. You can have someone build your windows, right? And then you can give it a name. You as K&H.
Well, I think what happens is a lot of companies private label windows. So they'll take, you know, the different parts of the window, different glass packages, different lock systems, that kind of thing.
And then they give it a name.
Then they give it a name, right. You don't see that as much anymore.
No. So you carry the name that the manufacturer gives it? Is that how you do it?
We do, and here's the reason why. In this day and age, people are on the internet a lot.
Right.
So if I private label a window and I call it the K&H special window,
right,
and they go online to that manufacturer and they don't find that window,
okay,
then I don't look like I'm honest.
Exactly. And you pick a manufacturer based on what?
We pick a manufacturer based on, are they financially secure, the quality of the product, you know, the designs.
Now, can somebody, I don't think people, can they get hurt if they get a really good window and the company goes out of business? Not the installer, not the local companies, but I'm talking about the manufacturer. If a manufacturer stops manufacturing it for any reason, goes out of business, can people get hurt by that? Are they that exclusive and proprietary that you wouldn't be able to repair them?
What happens is, and you know, unfortunately I've had to go through this.
Right.
So it depends on the company you bought them from. If the company you bought them from is willing to stand behind the window,
yeah,
and provide the
but
parts.
If they don't?
If they don't, then yeah, you could be stuck. I mean, glass, pretty much you can replace glass.
Right.
And that's the biggest part of the window anyway.
And aren't most of them using the what is it, True Hardware, whatever the name is?
A Truth Hardware?
Yeah, Truth.
A lot of them use Truth Hardware. There's some other companies that have come up along the way now, but getting somebody to install the hardware on a window is a little touchy.
Okay.
So that's not something you can usually get
So
done.
you really want a brand that's going to be around.
You want a brand that's going to be around, and more importantly, you want a company that's going to be around to back it.
That's for sure. Now, okay, so brand names can be private labeled or manufacturer named. Yes, Mark.
Well, these guys, TrueView, did buy 5280.
Good.
So they do the same thing. If you got a rip screen,
glass, whatever,
the hardware, shower doors, anything like
these
that,
guys,
individual panes.
The guys originally 5280, and we love these people. They would machine parts if they had to. They'd get a part and make it work. And so, okay, so remember, when it comes to windows, there are hundreds and hundreds of them. There really are. But let's talk about vinyl. How many true extruders? I'm trying to educate people because it's like appliances. There's only a few manufacturers. How many actual how many people take vinyl and extrude it? What I mean is, you assemble a window with rails and frames and things like that. How many people actually make that raw material into extrusions that they cut up and assemble a window?
Well, there's probably a half a dozen at the most true extruders, and they have different designs, and then they have companies that come to them with their own designs, and they create dies for the extruder to actually extrude.
So you can go to an extruder and say, I want this kind of a vinyl rail.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You better be willing to buy a lot of them, though.
Right. So most of the time, you take the your manufacturer goes to an extruder and grabs the rails and the frames and makes their window.
Yes, they design them. I mean, they have their own engineers. They design the window. So you know, they want a window, let's say, that is going to seal really well.
No, I understand. So. And I know the sealing, the hardware, the glass pack, the assembly is important. But the vinyl itself, is there truly a big difference from one vinyl to another vinyl?
I think the main thing is that it's virgin vinyl. And other than that, there really isn't that huge a difference with the vinyl.
When it comes to the composition, it's vinyl.
Right. It's more the design of the window. It's more where they put the sealers, where they put the fin seal, where they put bulb seals, all those kinds of things that make a window not leak air.
I want you to tell me, if you were shopping for a window and no manufacturers existed, but you had to design a window for your home, what we look for in a window. And so we'll do it, but not right now. I want to go one thing at a time. Like, what is a vinyl extrusion? People, if you look at it like the framework of a window is made up of vinyl parts, and the vinyl parts are, you know, rails. They're long, and they're cut and they're put together. And then you have small rails and big rails depending on whether it's the sill or it's the whole frame or around the glass. And I want to know about what makes a good extrusion, what makes a bad extrusion. But Michael, we gave you that recommendation. I hope that's good for you. If you have a specific question after that, let us know. Let's talk about Mark. Let's talk with Mark here, who wants to talk about auto repair. Go ahead, Mark.
Hi, Tom. I know it's not car day, but that's the issue.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead, sir.
I'm a long-distance truck driver. I have a vehicle that I park in Denver. It's a 96 F-150. I only drive it 3 or 4 times a year. The last time I drove it was just before Thanksgiving.
How many miles on it?
Was, just under 200,000.
And how long have you owned it?
I've owned it since 2004.
Okay. So what about it?
Well, the last time I drove it, as I was taking it back to the yard, I was having what I'm pretty sure is a fuel issue of some kind. I don't know if it's a block filter or crossover valve or just bad fuel, but I'm going to be in Denver tomorrow, and I'm reasonably certain that it's not going to start. I'm not going to be able to move it, and I'm looking for a mobile repair that is not going to cost me an arm and a leg.
Okay. Mobile repair is difficult. We used to have a guy. We don't have mobile repair. We don't have it on the referral list, but our shops are more than willing to come out and look at it and get it in, but it's going to cost a tow. And Mark, do you have AAA?
You know, cast iron will tow for referral list listeners or radio show listeners for, what is it, $50?
AAA, but I might have.
I'm sorry, 75, pretty much anywhere.
Insurance policy.
Okay, well. Anyway, we have someone on the referral list that'll do it for $75. But I'm not trying to sell you on getting it into a shop, and it might be something minor to get it started. But if you do get it started, you have to get it fixed anyway. So how have you gotten it started in the past when it was difficult?
Well, it's the first time I've had this problem, so it's not been an issue.
And I can see the problem with mobile, though. If it's something like the fuel pump and it's in tank, you have to have that truck up in the air. You got to drop the gas tank. I mean,
I'm telling you that I'm thinking it's going to be a fuel issue, because that's the only thing that happens when something sits. Nothing wears out or goes wrong. And if it was a seal problem, it would still they might dry out, but it'll still start. The fact that it doesn't.
I don't think it's a pump problem, because it's still pumping from one tank.
And I didn't say pump. I said a fuel problem. Literally, the fuel problem, because that's the only thing that goes bad when it sits. And if you just started that infrequently, you're going to have a fuel problem. And I think it's going to be easier than you think. I would probably use some dry gas, they call it, and I would just use that in the beginning just to see if I can get it started. If you need to get someone there to help you, I don't know. I mean, really, I have to tell you, I don't want to just make a recommendation to make it, Mark. I would call one of our auto shops and see what they say as far, like what part of town are you in, Mark? Let's do that first. What part of town is this?
West 64th and Pecos.
Okay, let's look up there and see who we have close. West 64th and Pecos. Okay, we'll look during the break. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center has evaluation periods for your hearing aids. Now, this is a takeaway I want you to know. There are places that have other trial periods. The law says you have to give people 30 days to make up their mind on a hearing aid. However, the law says you can charge for miscellaneous fees and molds and all of that. Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center does their own version of their own trial and has no obligation whatsoever. They just do an evaluation, of course, and if you want to use a hearing aid to make sure it's right for you, they'll do it. They want to make sure it's right, and they don't nickel and dime you with fees, except for, of course, a normal appointment for an evaluation and a hearing test, all of that. If you have tinnitus, they have remarkable treatment for tinnitus. Go with the people I know and trust for many, many years. Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center. You will not be disappointed. 303-534-0163.
I think they were smart buying that 5280.
I'm not familiar with that company.
What's that?
I'm not familiar with the company.
You know, they did where they would really do well. The model is like
280. I'm not familiar with the company that acquired it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, what they liked about it, the reason they acquired him, well, first of all, he was moving. He went and did where did he move to? What country was that?
I know he did that.
He had his calling, and he literally sold the retail side, and he was going to keep the wholesale side.
That CEO,
And
she doesn't want
he just didn't
the
want
name
to run
out.
it, didn't want to take
That's
payment.
fake
So
news,
basically,
yeah, just to let you know.
he sold it to Trueview.
And she doesn't want to know
and
where
they
it's
got
at,
it
whatever, because
purely
the
on
bank
the,
loan that she's got through could drop her.
The apartment complex side. I mean, they do great. I mean, they'll go out and they'll go through like a huge apartment complex and redo all the hardware, shower doors that are broken, screens that need replacement. I mean, that's where they're really doing pretty good. But going to someone's house and doing like one or two things, there's no money in it.
Yeah. Suzanne, are you on Messenger? I don't see you.
So where's Sheridan at? This where he's at is at just north of
Now I
76.
do. The name's
He's got two.
I know. Where's it? So this is where the guy said he's at. I mean, work. Right there. Work. Isn't Sheridan free up? That's just north of 76. And just there's nothing up there.
I don't know. Okay. 44th Auto.
That's way over. That's way out east.
Only Purifoy.
That's east. This is west of.
All right. Well, I'm throwing stuff at you.
I don't like it. I'm not liking what you're throwing.
How about Honest Accurate? He'll be on Friday. I like him. I saw pictures of it. It was extremely cool. It's like almost like a little mini showroom out of a container. It had to be cheap as heck to make, but just ingenuity. I liked it. Yeah. Although I think he sold it and took a beating on it. So.
5280 did a number of different windows. And, I mean, I am familiar with them. Just what I'm seeing here for Trueview doesn't look like they've continued that. At least their website doesn't indicate it.
No, what they did on the buying the 5280, they bought the name, the domain, the rights to use it, the trademarks, and mostly just that repair business. I don't know what, I never knew that 5280 even did new windows. Are you saying they did?
I thought they did.
Maybe a long time ago. But I mean, for the last 3 years I've been back to it, I don't remember them selling any new product. It was all repair.
I thought they were doing like wood windows and other stuff that we would do historical glass.
They might do some stained glass Trueview, but I don't even think. Do you remember?
Ted, you're really good on the radio, and that's so freaking important. We had some guys the other day. I'm not going to mention names, what day it was, whatever, but they just didn't present well. And they're the nicest guys with a great company, but they just didn't present well.
Did 5280, do you remember if they sold any new product at all, or windows? I mean, like, what? I didn't think so.
They never sold windows.
Well, I think actually they did years
ago. They did it one time, yeah. We used to compete with them occasionally.
Well, then it might have been another company with a similar name, because I know him, and he was, in fact, he was adamant about it, because he didn't want to compete. He didn't want to. He wanted to just fix stuff.
Okay. Well, 5280 website does go to Trueview now, so.
So it could have been that, 5280 Windows is a kind of like, they were 5280 window glass and screen repair. That's the name of the contract.
Right.
So there could have been a 5280 Windows, because that's such a popular moniker, I think. Yeah.
Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. You know, when it comes to granite, I want to give you some heads up. You know these places that advertise 75% off, 80% off? Listen, nobody can give you that, okay? It's just bull crap. They don't have normal prices. If you want a true deal with granite and stone, Art of Granite is a natural stone importer. And here's what I want you to know. You never have to buy more than you need with the Art of Granite. You only buy what you need. Some will make you buy a slab, entire slab. Here's the other thing. All of the granite you buy, or stone, or quartz, all of it is wholesale. He only charges for fabrication and installation. He doesn't charge for tearing out and hauling away, which is a big deal. Also, he does the bathroom free when you do the kitchen. And he's the only one I know, the only one right now in business that I know in home improvements at all, that will give you a price on the phone. He will give you a price on the phone. You call him, he'll work out an email for some measurements and some pictures, and he'll give you a price. And the price will only change if you change what you say. But then you go pick out sinks, custom edges, wholesale countertop material, the cabinets, and that's it. If you like what you see, what you hear on the phone, the price, you go to the Golden Showroom and you seal the deal, and it takes maybe a week to 4 weeks depending on the complexity. 303-386-5919. artofgranite.net. Okay. Also, you're not going to find fillers. You got to look for this when you look for granite. Don't accept fillers and all of that when they make mistakes in the process, and then try to, you know, fill it in. 303-713-8255. Let's talk to Jim about moving pods. Jim, welcome. What do you think?
Hi, Tom.
Hey.
Listen, I live in Como, Colorado, and I got to move to Las Cruces, New Mexico. I called this company called U-Pack. They're going to drop off pods in Como at my house. I'm going to load it. They're going to pick them up and drive them, deliver them to my house in Las Cruces.
I love the concept of pods. Love it.
Yeah, okay.
Did you hear what I said? The concept.
Yes.
You got to get the right company and no hidden charges and all of that. But if you take full responsibility, for any damages.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and he's going to, based on a 3-bedroom home, he's going to deliver it to Las Cruces, and we unpack it for $2,700. And then if we have to store it, which I'm sure we will for at least a month, it's going to be $500 a month for storing it. I can't comment on the price because I haven't looked at them recently and compared prices for that move. But that's easy for you to do. Yeah. You ought to check full service moves, because to Las Cruces, just on first blush, it sounded a little high. But I don't know. I'm not saying it is, Jim. Yeah. Now, Jim, the beauty of pods, if done right, they deliver them. You load them the way you want. You know what's in there. They lock and seal them. And when you store them, they just sit there. So there's no moving your stuff around. The more you move stuff, the more it gets broken. So if you have to move and you have to store it, it stays in the pod. And then they deliver the pod. I can't think of a better system. I love it. And I don't know what the downsides would be. Now, we do have great moving companies, and the ones we have on the site right now are for local, or for Amazing Moves is amazing. And they're for local moves. But I don't know. I can't think of a downside. What I would do is simply price them. Have you looked at other pod companies? Yeah, we called some, and they don't come up to Como, Colorado.
Well, then just if you were asking me what I think about price, I can't tell you. If you're asking,
how much was it?
$2,700.
Yeah. And where is he moving from?
From Como to Las Cruces.
And then how long do you get to keep the pod at your house?
I'm not sure. I think 3 days to unload it.
Is that enough time?
And how many?
It's not bad. I mean, it doesn't sound great. It's not bad, though.
3 days on each end, right?
Yeah.
Mark, when you think about it, most of our complaints, what are they? They're about the handling, the showing up, the people.
Yep.
The damages of the home, damages of stuff, missing stuff. Pods do away with all of it.
Yep.
I mean, it does away with all of it. I've never gotten a complaint about the actual transport. Now, you get a lot of these scammers, and they can't do that here. They say you have more tonnage than you said. But with a pod, it's based on the pod. I love it. I love it. Jess, what's happening, Jess?
Hi, Tom.
What's going on?
So it was discovered that the home that we recently purchased does not have a certificate of occupancy.
Oh, fair.
Did not disclose it to us, and come to find out that in 2006 they had a temporary certificate of occupancy with 7 code violations that they did not fix, and now we are looking at $25,000 in repairs to bring the house up to code.
This should be a no-brainer, though.
This should be a no-brainer, but there are more people without COs than you would ever believe.
How would it get through the title company?
Oh,
and more importantly, Tom, how would it get through the lender?
We're going to talk about it because you know why? It happened to me personally, and I can tell you about it. So you stay tuned for that, okay? Now, the Become the Banker seminars are going on this week. You have to go to becomethebanker.org to find out about them. You know how I feel about this. I think it's a great, conservative, safe investment. No, you won't get rich quick, but you will accumulate more wealth than you would in a bank or in most ways to put small amounts of money. Listen, you can't wheel and deal when you only have a few $100 a month. This is a great, solid investment. That's all I can say. There's no downside to this investment. There really isn't. You buy a whole life policy, but the purpose is not to have life insurance. That's the frosting on the cake. You overfund it on purpose because inside that policy, the government allows you to grow tax-free, and that accumulates very, very quickly. It's 4%, but that, for any taxpayer, would be anywhere from 6 to 8%, depending on your tax bracket. Then you get about a 1% dividend. You can borrow from that through your life and pay yourself back with interest to accumulate even more. The whole idea is to wait until you're at retirement age, you set that, and then you start drawing out regular loans so you don't pay tax, and then you never pay them back. The life benefit pays it back. I just think it's a solid investment. As I said, no, not your only investment, but it's safe, it's conservative, and it's growth. 303-779-6600 for a personal appointment. That's 303-779-6600. And they'll even do a webinar right there for you. Or go to find out about their seminars at becomethebanker.org.
Make sure you update your talking points on that so I remember that when I'm doing those. The webinar.
Oh, okay. I'll do that right now.
Because even though I'm the one that told you, I forget what I'm reading.
So Become the Banker, you're actually managing investments or not?
You basically overfund a life insurance policy
and
borrow
you don't do any investing. They just pay you that interest. It's like a CD. There's really, I can't think of any down. Even people that have a lump sum, you can fund it. You have to do it over a 2-year period. They won't let you do it in one payment. But it's banking 4% just sitting there. And you can get the money anytime you want, borrow from yourself and get it, even if you don't want to overfund. If you just wanted it instead of a CD, it would be worth it because you get life insurance. You lose a little on the life insurance portion. I think the cost of insurance...
They're buying term insurance inside of it.
Well, it's actually a whole life or whatever. But you have insurance. It's good insurance company. But the cost of insurance is not too high. It's not. I think, what did they say the actual cost of insurance is?
4 point.
No, the actual, not the loan. The actual cost of insurance.
It depends on your age and everything else.
That's right. But for you, what did it turn out? 1%?
Well, it was about right. It was for my son.
It took 1%.
It was about 1%.
1% of the yield went toward.
Right. Roughly. And it depends, and it changes as the years go on and stuff.
And how many years do you have to fund it before
I don't know who would qualify.
You can if you had a lump sum or enough money, you put it in today, you can borrow tomorrow. Okay. You can borrow 90% of it. You have to leave money in for the cost of insurance. Right. A little more than the cost you have to let insurance. But you can get it, you can borrow immediately. It's a great idea. I mean, like I said, I don't know the downside. People go, I do the stock or I do this. Well, I'm not telling you not to do that stuff.
APO isn't available. They just had a meeting with Kevin Harrington.
Who's that?
He's the as seen on TV from Shark Tank guy. He's not on as often as Kevin, our money guy, the one we love. Is that the
I don't know any of them.
Who's the guy, Mr. Money?
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful, that's who it is. He's a trip.
Kevin Harrington.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Kevin Harrington. He's like, yeah, we just had a meeting with Kevin Harrington. Anyway, they're not available.
He's on MSNBC or CNBC, MSNBC. You know who Trump's picking? He's one of the CNBC guys.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that wild?
What are you talking about?
Secretary Treasurer.
The treasurer secretary.
It's here. I'll get his name. I forget it. It stuck out because of where he works right now. CNBC.
The other day, realized the blinds were open. That's embarrassing. Anyone here tonight from the Caloturididae species?
Oh, that's it.
No, that's too bad. Because all of my next jokes are driveway related.
Yeah, I don't see anything on it. He actually said it this morning getting on the helicopter. Jack Lew, I think. Let me see.
The IRS is the most feared agency in the world. You've heard ads from other companies offering to help taxpayers only if they owe over $10,000. Here at Platinum Tax Defenders, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and we're proud to be one of the only
Got rid of his personal assistant.
You mean Tillerson's?
No.
Oh, who?
So I don't know.
I love how he runs. You know what? We think it's chaotic. There's nothing chaotic. I bet on any project he's done, he's just as chaotic, or just as. It's just his management style. Did she that fall Hillary took? Holy shit, man!
When was this?
Yesterday.
Another one?
The video is unbelievable.
Really?
Oh, it was bad, man. There's something wrong with her. I mean, like, no joking around that she's got something bad.
Who's this? I hope she doesn't.
Clinton Hillary.
I hope she doesn't have anything serious.
I think she does, man. This fall was really bad. Here it is right here. It's top news, man.
Okay.
You know who else is having it?
It's front page of Fox.
Pelosi's got something wrong too. You listen to her.
Watch this fall, though, man. I hate when you do commercials.
I know.
As we're running commercials. But they shouldn't have commercials on the internet, right?
Not what I'm watching.
I'm Tom Martino, your consumer advocate. Century RV has a 32,000 square foot facility in Lakewood now. They've expanded from Longmont. They're still up at the 119 turnoff north of Denver and I-25, and that's where they have their service center. Listen, I can talk all day long about Century RV and the largest selection of used RVs, and they have new ones too. So it's just north of 6th between Kipling and Sims next to Woodley's. But here's the important part. People call me all the time for service. Now, you can go to one of our auto people. They could get you in, but many of them can't fit those RVs in there. Plus, if you have a problem with the refrigerator and then you have a problem with the carburetor, they're two different systems. But Century RV does both, the house and the chassis and the drivetrain. So I really love CenturyRV.com. Let's continue. What happens when you buy a home without a CO? I'm going to tell you a story. Years and years ago, I bought a house without a CO. No, excuse me. I bought a house. I was building a house. And the county decided they were going to impose a tax, an impact fee they called it, based on COs. And I thought it was unconstitutional. Later on, it was deemed to be unconstitutional as a tax. They could not do it. It was when Colorado was exploding. And they decided it was a tax and it wasn't done right. And they had to refund the money they took. But as my protest, I simply did not get a CO. I literally moved in without a CO, and I got a temporary.
It was a cash deal then, right?
I got a temporary CO. As I built it, I paid along the way. But, Mark, I also then got a loan. That the person bought the home and got a loan, and I'll tell you why. Okay, because very seldom. This is why I'm shocked with Jesse. Very seldom do they ask for a CO, unless it's a new home. Have you ever heard of anyone asking for a CO ever? When you bought a house, did they ask for your CO?
I always figured the title company was handling that.
But did you? But okay.
I did. I never thought of it.
I just don't think they do. The final inspection is the most important thing. But in Jess's case, they had a final inspection, and what happened, they didn't get a CO, not because they just didn't want to get one, and no harm, no foul. They did it to avoid making those repairs, right, Jess?
Yes.
So this is out and out deception. It's a lot different than getting a final inspection and they say everything approved and you simply don't get a CO.
Unless they acknowledged it on the deal.
And that's like a documentation error. But when you don't get a CO on purpose because you don't want to bring it up to code, that's a serious problem. So Jess, on the disclosure, is there even a place that asks for a CO?
No, the sellers checked no for every box.
No, but Jess, there is no, I don't know of any disclosure that asks, do you have a certificate of occupancy?
No, but if it asks something talking about it.
What's that?
Legal and zoning and all of that, and every single box in that section.
Jess,
no.
I don't think, I don't think that you're going to get them on the disclosure personally. I don't think so, but maybe.
We should ask the real estate
I think it's simply a breach of contract. You bought a home that wasn't as represented. It wasn't.
There's a bigger issue, too.
What is
the
it?
The sellers of the home put the house in their children's name after the temporary certificate of occupancy expired. Then 2 months later filed for bankruptcy claiming they had no assets. And then
well, hold on. Wait a minute. Any trustee would have seen that house, and they look back 5 years. They would have seen that actually they look back 3 years. It's weird. It's 2 years by state, or 2 years by federal, and the state can go back 4 or something. But Jess, are you saying they transferred the house and went bankrupt after that?
Yes, I am.
And they were allowed to do it. The trustee let them do that.
Yes.
Then there must have been no equity. Was the house loaned up, or was it free and clear?
They free and clear, and then in 2016, somehow were able to take a $100,000 loan out against them.
All right, there's some serious fraud going on. Just hold on. I want you to get I need to know the case number of that bankruptcy. Hold on. How do you... There's no way a trustee would miss you signing your house over to your kids.
Especially if it's that close.
And allowing you to go bankrupt.
Well, the other question is, did she have a house inspected? Did her inspect?
Yes, the inspector said he'd give the money back, but he wants a liability.
Well, you'd be surprised though. Here's the deal. They don't, COs are not even discussed after a house is built.
Right.
They're really not. I mean, it's not the CO that's the problem. It's the, because when I was doing it, there's no law that says you even have to have a CO. It's something they give you as the final inspection is the most important thing.
Right.
I think they had a final inspection and decided, shit, we're not gonna fix these things, and they didn't fix them. That's the important.
That's right. And then when she went back to the county, they were going to add in a bedroom. The county says, wait, there's no certificate of occupancy there.
That's when it happened.
Yeah.
And then also, not only a CO, the county wouldn't have cared about the CO if the final inspection had been met.
The permits expire. Eventually, doesn't the county go back to them and say, this permit is temporary?
It did expire.
And the county never went back to them and said...
Here's what would happen. You got two different circumstances. One, you're avoiding bringing it to code, and two, you just are lazy. If you're just lazy and your temporary CO, your TCO expires, nobody gives a shit. They'll come back and say, oh, you show them your final inspection, you go in, you might pay a late fee, that's it. But if you did not bring it to code and you're living in there, how did they even get a temporary? That's what I want to know. Usually you don't get a temporary if there's serious deficiency.
They got a temporary. And
no, that's odd to me.
So the reason she knows all this, they left a box of paperwork with all the stuff in there about her bankruptcy and everything in there that they forgot.
Where are these people now?
Texas.
These people committed a crime.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, she's got them dead to right. And not only that, she can go back. Nothing's going to protect them. Bankruptcy's not going to protect them.
But if a lender finds out, they're going to pull her loan.
Okay.
And she can't afford. They can't afford the $25,000.
When did she buy the house?
Well, she's going to have to do something.
September.
She's going to have to go to court. I mean, if she doesn't go to court, she's not going to get any money.
Yeah, well,
now, we can call them and say, look, we're going to get you on fraud. We're going to get you on this. But I don't believe her. I think she's misreading stuff.
Well, so she called the people up and said, hey, this is what we're going to do. And then they call her back or they call her up again and says, our lawyer says, just forget you.
But truly, if they transferred the house to their kids' names.
And the kids were living in California.
and then they went bankrupt. The trustee would have said,
right, you would have thought, that's why you say you need the case number and stuff on that.
I want to know who the trustee is.
So
I'm going
when-
to talk to the trustee. Do you realize they have 7 years to reopen this case and bring these fuckers in?
What was the timeline on there? I got the time. It was 06, is that when the bankruptcy was?
Yeah,
Oh, no, for fraud. I'll bet you for fraud they can go back for.
I think you're right. I think fraud is.
Hey, Ted. Hey.
Hey, Ted, this is Ted.
Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I know. You used to have a client.
Can you get Wink and Wink on?
How are you doing?
I want to ask him about fraud.
How's the window business? Good. Good. Open and
Nick,
shut.
by the way.
And I need a case number. I want him to look up the case number and find out who the trustee was.
All right.
Going well, keeping
No, she's done her homework on this as far as what, because she's got all the data,
I'm selling for him these days, so. Stay out of trouble most of the time, except when I have to tangle with him. He's dangerous, you gotta watch with him.
Can you IM me the case number so I can give it to her?
I don't know the case number. That she has to give
Just
it.
ask her.
Yeah, she
She'll
has
have
to
it.
give it a case
She
number.
doesn't want it over the air because.
Oh, that girl.
Come up and
Jess,
say hi.
Jess.
Say, so you're doing.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good seeing you.
I thought you retired.
I did, from selling K-How.
Okay.
Just doing them, 3 days a week.
What do you think of 2009? So that's
Keeps me out
9
of
years
trouble
old.
sometimes.
Well, skiing sucks right now. So
Yeah.
You would think kind of cheap,
Skiing
because there's so
sucks right
much,
now,
those
so
old
when I
Winnebagos, they're like pieces of crap, right? But this
Yeah,
is-
and we find out.
Like I can't.
Go to-
Now, why would you want that versus just fifth wheel?
We find our
The reason being is you got almost a whole car behind it, but
it's good to
well,
see you.
you can go somewhere. If you
Oh,
want
man.
to go
Yeah,
drive
but
around.
Shit, I had a fifth wheel forever, man. They can be a
Tom,
pain in the ass to set
It was
up.
filed in
With auto
2007.
numbers.
She doesn't have the case number, but said she can give me the trustee name. Would that be enough for Wink and Wink? For 2007?
No. Well, she has the paperwork. How can she not have the case
She just told me she doesn't have the case number. I'm just telling you.
Okay. Can you talk to her, because then she's lying about having the paperwork, right?
Do you still want me to get Wink and Wink or wait? Yeah, okay.
Switch her over, Mark.
There's something she's not telling us.
Yeah, she said she has the box of it. She has all the days of the bankruptcy.
Well, she's got to come out somewhere. She wants to get money back. Otherwise, this is all about nothing. Supreme Court divorce laws.
What's that?
Well, one of the callers here has a question about the Supreme Court and divorce laws.
Oh, that's odd. Oh, maybe they're talking about the new tax deal? Who knows?
Just find out.
You can't write off alimony anymore.
You can't?
Yeah, well, if you're grandfathered in, you can. Isn't that weird, though? Can you imagine having to pay taxes on that and then give it away? It is kind of bizarre. And then the other person who's receiving the alimony doesn't have to report it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the odd part, the double whammy part that I don't understand.
I don't either. It doesn't even make, it just makes no sense.
Worry about dangerous toxins left behind. Call now and get really clean carpets with Zero Red. Free rooms treated, clean, and sanitized for just $109. That's for just $109. 303-471-5150. 303-471-5150.
So George should make a statement, looks like he did.
Or ZeroRedDenver.com.
Your shot at $1,000 right now. Text the keyword BILLS to 200-200. You'll get a text confirming entry plus iHeartRadio info. Standard data and message rates apply. That's BILLS to 200-200. This is the Troubleshooter Show.
I need somebody.
Now, Tom Martino, the Troubleshooter.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Welcome to the show. This hour brought to you by SimplyFloorsInc.com. We're consumer advocates here. We solve problems, answer questions, take complaints. We tell you what to do, what not to do, and we handle every problem in between in the pursuit of truth, justice, and the American way. All you have to do is call 303-713-TALK, and make sure you check out our podcast. available for download if you missed a show. Also live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on the iHeartRadio app, live on KHOW Radio here, and then live in the Springs on KRDO Radio and elsewhere. All you have to do is listen, and you'll learn. You really will. You will absolutely learn. And with Simply Floors, you'll learn that you don't have to be big to be bad. You don't have to be, you can be mean and lean and have a small company, but compete with the big guys. And that's what Simply Floors, Inc. does. You know, I can't believe I got a complaint that somebody only saved 30%, not 40%. But you can save up to 40%. In fact, sometimes even 50%, depending on the job. That's because Buddy Mitchell simply does more and simply takes less at simplyfloorsinc.com. You can go to 52nd and Ward, look at the showroom, or simply go to simplyfloorsinc.com and make your own appointment. Okay, for evenings and whenever. It's not just all about cost either. It has all of the products the big boys have. Simplyfloorsinc.com. Hey, let's talk. Anything on your mind? And I was talking to K&H Home Solutions about windows, and, you know, really, vinyl is vinyl is vinyl if it's virgin vinyl. What you need to look for is how a window is constructed, and then who deals in the window. You know, there's so much involved. You got the installation as well as the manufacturer. And I was going to ask of characteristics we look for in a window, no matter what kind of a window, just in general. And we're going to go over those. What happens if you buy a house without a CO? A CO is a certificate of occupancy. Here is what happens. Normally, you have inspections along the way. Then you have what's called the final inspection. Upon the final inspection, if approved, you get a temporary certificate of occupancy. You then move in, and then you apply for a permanent certificate of occupancy. It's more or less just paperwork. But in this case, they had some deficiencies on the final inspection. Why they got a temporary certificate with those deficiencies, if they were major, I don't know. But somehow, Jess says they got a temporary certificate of occupancy. These people never got a permanent CO, certificate of occupancy, never got a permanent CO because they didn't want to make the improvements. So Jess buys the house from them and now has to do $25,000 in upgrades to get it up to code. Jess found this out when she went to do a home improvement, and they said, we can't give you a permit on this. But Jess, I have a million questions, but seriously, I want some quick questions answered. How do you know they did a bankruptcy?
I have friends that are private investigators, and I needed their address to serve them with papers. And so they ran a report that gave me all of their information, and in there it said that they filed for bankruptcy. And what date did they file for bankruptcy? March of 2007. March? 3 months after the TCO expired. Okay. Then how do you know they transferred their home before that? Because when Title did a search for closing, the 2 warranty deeds came up. And when I asked Title about why they don't search for a CO, they said it's not their responsibility. Well, it isn't usually. Nobody cared. They care about liens and all of that. Certificates of occupancy are normally not an issue. Now, here's the deal. With the transfer, did it show that those people transferred to their kids who were living in California? Their kids are all over the place. California. I don't care about that. Did it show that they transferred the house? Yes, it did. Okay, when did they transfer the house? December of 2006. So in December of 2006, they transferred the house out of their name, and you said it was paid off free and clear. Yes, it took. Yeah, they built the house themselves. It took them 3 years. All right, so then they declare bankruptcy. They would have had to pay into the bankruptcy court the value of that home. So maybe they did. Otherwise, it's fraud. Did they show the house in the? Did they show the transfer? You said they didn't. I want to know how you know this. No. I had an attorney come out here to discuss what our options were, and he looked it up in Pacers and said that they claimed that they had no assets. Okay, good. You have that. So they committed fraud. I believe so. Well, yes, not believe. You have it on paper. They transferred the house, said they had no assets, and you're supposed to go back 2 years by 2 years by federal law, and they can go back 4 years by state law. These guys did what was called a fraudulent transfer. So who is the trustee? I believe someone by the name of Jean Yago.
Did you call the trustee?
No.
Well, you need to. You need to commit. You need to commit. I mean, not commit. You need to tell them about this fraud. Report this fraud because this hurt you, and they can recall a bankruptcy and go after these people for fraud. This is an open case. When it comes to fraud, it's an open case.
I mean, then but then what does that do about the house?
Well,
you know, I believe that's a federal offense. I think they could get arrested.
No, they can get arrested. They can get arrested. And we're going to call these people and tell them about this. You know, here's the thing, though, Jess. You have a loan on your home, and you're afraid to do anything. Well, okay, so then if you cannot disclose, if you do not want this known, then there's nothing you can do. You just have to make the repairs and get your CO. That's all you can do.
I just want to know how it's going to affect us, because if they wind up getting arrested, then are we never going to be able to collect a judgment for the repairs?
Okay.
They are liable for that.
First of all, their fraud cost you money. I do not believe they can get away. They can get out of this. Okay, but when you disclose that you do not have a CO and it becomes known, there's a possibility your lender is going to have a problem with your loan. But I don't think if you're making your payments, they can call it due. I think legally they can, because they're going to say it was given under fraudulent circumstances. Yeah. However, there is something called the public interest. And it's a weird concept, but what they mean is, in law, if something does not improve or does not help the public interest, you're making it's, for example, if you do a bankruptcy and you're making payments on a car, and you don't and you include it in the bankruptcy, but you're still making your payments, it's very unlikely they repossess the car just to do it if you're making your payments. It's the same with a house. If you go bankrupt and you include the house loan in your bankruptcy, which means you're not personally liable, the only thing they have is the security of the home, but you keep making your payments, normally they do not foreclose because it's against public interest. I believe that in your case, I'm not giving you a legal opinion, I'm just giving you a gut, is that if you are making your payments on this loan and you're pursuing the wrongdoers, I don't think your bank is going to just heap upon you another obstacle, and it's against public interest. There's nothing good can come from it. So I don't believe they would do it, but they could. They could. So I think if it was me, what I would do is first write a letter, a very pointed letter from an attorney saying, you committed fraud and you cost us money, we want to be paid to bring this up to CO, or we're going full throttle against you on all counts, okay? And then just see what they do. And if they don't do anything, then you need to go to the trustee immediately, and you need to pursue that. I'd like to do that. And then you need to also start making your repairs and sue them for it. I don't see how they can win. Now the question is, can you collect? Well, they're not going to go bankrupt on it because it's fraud. And they knew about this. First of all, did they ever get the home back in their name, or did you buy it from the kids?
No, they put it back in their name in 2013.
And, okay, and then they sold it to you.
In 2017.
You can also sue the children because they're part of the fraud. You have a lot of people to sue. You can sue the trustee of the bankruptcy court. You can sue the trustee. It's legal. You can sue the trustee. I know that.
Okay.
So, but you need an aggressive attorney to take this on.
I'd sure like to see this bankruptcy file.
You don't believe that a trustee would overlook this? I don't
he gets paid on this.
I don't either. I
don't know how it's possible. I don't know how it's probable.
You'd have to be totally asleep at the wheel to let this happen. Now, we're going to try to get a hold of Wink and Wink, winkandwink.com. They're our bankruptcy attorneys. They're experts, and we're going to ask them to look into this case, okay? And you feel free to call them and you tell them, I'm with Martino, and he said you would help us with this case. Now, they're not going to represent you, but what they're going to do is look at the case. They're really good people, and they would, for example, if they were representing these people, they would never let them do it. Never. They would try, unless these people kept it from their attorney. Anyway, Wink and Wink, 303-410-1720. They do 7s and 13s. They know all about this. And that's who I'm going to hand this to. And I'm also going to get you some other help. We're not letting this go. This is a major fraud. I want everyone out there to you know when you listen to the show and you say, oh, this is a good case, I want to see how it ends up. Remember this one. This is going to be a big one. So it's winkandwink.com, 303-410-1720. Now hold on, Jess. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what I'm proposing. I would like to take a shot at calling these people and scaring the living crap out of them. Okay? But if you don't want me to, I won't.
No,
I would also like to call the trustee. Okay? I'd like to do that after we do a research, because as Mark says, we first want to see if all of this is true, Jess. I truly want to see if this bankruptcy trustee overlooked it, okay? Because for all we know, they made a payment to the bankruptcy court for it. We don't know that. But you said, wait, you do. You said it was a no-asset case.
Yes, from what the attorney who came out here.
No, okay. Why the attorney that came out there, did he recommend you suing?
Yes, but he said because they're good at playing the system and hiding their assets, we'll win a judgment, but there could be no way for us ever to collect that against them.
Well, you're going to go after the kids. You're going to go after the trustee. You're going to go after their real estate person. And you're going to go after their attorney that handled the bankruptcy. So here's what you need to do. You need to do some homework. We'll do it. You need to get me a case number any way you can. Okay? That's all I need. Then we'll find out their attorney, the trustee. We'll find out everything. Let's call this for our follow-up. What should we call this, Dan? This is a bad one. This really is. This is a fraudulent house sale. Okay? Now, will the county at least wait for you to make... are they demanding you make these improvements right now?
They are, but we did... tell them that a couple of the things, because they're big items and structural, they can't be started.
Tell me one of the main problems that tell me one of your main problems.
The biggest headache that's structural is that the stairs are not 6 feet 8 inches in 4 spots, and the stairs go from the garage all the way to the top level, which is the master bedroom, and that is structural.
All right.
Because the one side is the pitch of the roof.
All right, hold on. Cecilia, you need advice on filing a homeowner's claim?
I need to, some of the steps. This is a situation of a sewer backup.
All right, you hold on then. Hold on, Cecilia. We'll get our people from Compass Insurance Group on. George wants to talk about some divorce laws in the Supreme Court. I'm Tom Martino, and speaking of attorneys, I talked to you about Wink and Wink. I hope you never need him. Joe Lazara is another attorney I hope you never need. He is a criminal defense attorney. Joseph A. Lazara. Look for him on our referral list. Many times people get into trouble because they try to calculate how much they're drinking or smoking, and then they go behind a wheel. You can even get under the influence for cold medicines, for goodness sakes. If you need help getting through the system, first try to avoid at all costs a DUI, and all you have to do is use Uber or Lyft or a designated driver. If you are accused of this, you think you're innocent, you think you're guilty, you just want to plead guilty, no matter what it is, you still need legal representation. 303-429-6200. 303-429-6200. More with K&H Home Solutions and the show when we come back.
So Tom, that Dave Anders thing, the liability insurance, can we ask Compass that too? Would they're Betty, they're putting her off on the liability insurance that he had. He had a policy.
He had a policy.
Yeah.
Dave Anders has a construction policy.
Had a liability policy on her house.
That's for damages.
Yeah, well, like I say,
he left it wide open and didn't even put fucking plastic up for a while, man.
So the big thing there is they're kind of stonewalling her. It's through Liberty Mutual. Is that going to cover anything? I don't see it covering anything because it had to be like say for damages.
If it was damaged,
Mark, I don't see any video you've transferred here. What?
It's in 44th auto folder.
There's an 44th auto folder. You did it on this hard drive.
Great. I don't know what else I would have transferred it to.
Honest to God, it's not good.
Is that a 1 terabyte?
Yeah.
It's definitely on there.
Okay. Here's what I have. Now, I'll look here. These are my library. This is something else. This is called Pro Auto.
Is that you or
right? Then here are backup. I don't think you would have. And here's OneDrive, and I don't see it. 44 Auto. And this is that. This is this. I'm sure. So I'm looking at it.
Well, would it be different when it's on a PC?
Not really. No, if you drag and drop it over to you,
if I dragged it to my computer, then my computer to there. And then I look at it on there before I unplug it, yeah. It wasn't called backup though.
No.
The device was called.
No, that's what my thing is called.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't called that on mine.
Then you might have did it to something else. I don't know, Mark.
You'll pick Mitch at artofgranite.net.
Okay, let me see it. Unplug it. Let me have it real quick.
Now remember, you don't just unplug it. You have to reject it.
Well, on yours.
Well, any storage. Well, hold on. Any storage device like
No. Unplug the other cable. I need the whole cable. Oh, I need your other cable there. Where is it?
Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
are you going to go downstairs?
Yeah, I'm going to go just check. I just know it's on here. It's driving me nuts.
I suppose if I prepare to be a decent application.
I'll keep this out.
For you. In other words, if you want a loan that's 13 years, 23 years, 15 years, 27 years, whatever the term they'll do.
Yeah, that CO is. Did you guys ever know about that? I didn't.
What about it?
So
Nobody usually checks it.
I would have been totally ignorant.
Yeah, that would not have been a question I asked.
Yeah.
It was not a question I asked.
If she was doing an improvement and it showed no CO, but the final inspection had been passed, they wouldn't have cared.
You have a 9.
They really
Do you want to go straight from there?
I mean,
on your way home.
How, though, with those major problems, did they get a temporary? Because they would have had to tear down the stairs.
So what she had said, that there's also a beam that holds up the deck, whatever, and when they were out there, they had like a steel pole holding it up, and then they would take it down. So they could have major structure issues.
Yeah. God, these people are bad.
Yeah, they are. But I never even thought about that suing the kids and stuff. That might be the way to do it.
Oh, no, you do. You get the kids, you go after everyone. It's going to piss them off.
You're not alone. There's help. Call the Raleigh House today. They've established a special number to address your
And it sounds, when she first told us, I thought there was just like one kid in California, but if there's several.
Oh, those kids will hit the roof.
Oh, absolutely.
And these people, they think they can skate. Now, if this is all true, I really don't want to drop this one.
Yeah, I think the kids would be blindsided on that one. Yeah, they'll probably just go to one wrong mom and dad are doing this.
That's why we need the title work, too, from this woman.
I mean, I would assume the kids at least have an inkling of what's going on.
Well, if your folks are telling you, hey, yeah, we just got to do this here and stuff, even though they probably don't know think it's right, you know, they said, okay, yeah. And then they got to do a lot of signing and stuff. When you transfer over back to it, and they would have had to sell it. You just can't give them.
I mean, I guess if my mom asked to transfer the house over to me, I'd have a hard time telling her no. That's a fair argument.
But then they want it back.
Yeah. You're looking for great deals, buyandbuild.net. Buy and build, wholesale, below wholesale. Tile, hardwoods, granite, cabinets, light fixtures. Oh my goodness, the money you can save on lighting fixtures and plumbing fixtures. Send your contractor, go yourself. You'll never believe this big, giant, ugly warehouse. 4800 Washington Street. And then you can vote yay or nay whether it's ugly. It's not ugly inside. I mean, it's kind of ugly, but it's not like, I don't mean like it's dilapidated. It's just ugly. But it's a great, great big warehouse. Buyandbuild.net, 4800 Washington Street. If you have a specific you want to ask about, 303-295-6022. So, okay, so the number one characteristic, and I'm going to Cecilia on this homeowner's insurance claim, but I want to ask Ted Rowland, owner of KH Home Solutions. I want to know about the number one thing you look for, virgin vinyl, but in a window when you're looking at the frame, because usually they have demos that they have a cross section. What is the number one thing you're looking at in a vinyl window?
I don't know that there's a number one thing. I mean, we're looking at how the window's assembled.
Yeah. But let me ask you this then. Is it true, and this is what I'm going for, in a vinyl frame, the more air pocket, the more separate compartments. In other words, you'll see that it's not just a rectangle. It's got little squares and rectangles inside it. In other words, it's extruded with walls and barriers and little compartments.
Correct.
Isn't it so that the more of those you have, the better, or not?
Well, to a certain degree, the more of those you have, the better. But in this day and age, I mean, that was old thinking.
Okay,
and
what's new thinking?
The result of that was you had really thick windows. You had really bold windows.
Okay.
As far as the frames went. So now, in a lot of cases, in the windows that we provide, we put insulation in those frames. So that makes up for the air pockets.
The air chambers used to be kind of a barrier,
right?
An insulation barrier. But instead, you guys, it's filled with what? Foam?
Yeah, a foam insulation. Yes.
So, but is it just one rail then, like a rectangle filled with foam, or are there still are there still compartments?
There's still compartments.
For strength.
There's still compartments. Yeah, because that's what gives vinyl a lot of its strength.
Okay.
But depending on the quality of the window, like a less expensive window is typically going to have less chambers. It's going to be thinner.
So you want not just a lot of chambers, but you want them filled.
You want some of them filled. You're not going to fill all of them because some of them are just too small.
Okay, gotcha. So does the rail then have an R factor that you look for?
It will have an R factor. We really look more at the U value of the window overall.
What is a U value?
U value speaks to the resistance of the window to heat, cold, infiltrating, and it really is
the higher the number, the better?
No, the lower the number, the better.
Okay, so a U value is a loss transfer.
Right. It's between 0 and 1.
Okay.
And the lower the number, the better it is.
Okay.
And it takes the window as a whole rather than an R value of each component.
Right, because you could have a good R value on the rail, but have a really loosely constructed window.
Right, and the big fallacy of R values on windows is that they'll typically give you an R value on the center of the glass, which is the most insulated part of the glass, rather than the whole window.
K&H Home Solutions, that's Ted, the owner. I've known him for years. Okay, so Cecilia, what is the claim you're trying to file on your house?
Yes, the claim is for homeowners insurance.
For what?
Homeowners, it's a sewer backup. It's the second time under 2 years.
Do you have coverage for sewer backup?
Yes.
Okay, good. A lot of people don't.
Well, it's a sewer backup.
Go ahead.
The cleaning up is being done right now. I've contacted my...
I was going to say, your agent. Don't you just contact your agent? I mean, Compass Insurance Group really walks people through this procedure. Who is your insurance company?
USAA.
Okay, USAA.
And they did a TV video scope this time when it happened. They found out that there is a root intrusion.
So what are they going to do? Are they going to fix it?
Yes.
Okay, and they're going to pay for it?
From what I understand.
Okay, then what's the call for? How do we help you?
I want to know, I'm with the HOA. Do I contact them? And also, is it considered my issue? Because
good question,
I didn't know about that.
All right, here's the deal. First of all sewer backups are your problem initially, okay? Then afterwards, you may be able to collect from other people, but your insurance company will look for that. They're going to look to subrogate. If they think the sewer district did something wrong, they're going to go after them. Or the installer of that pipe did something wrong, they're going to go after them. But that's up to your insurance company. Right now, what you need to be concerned about is why it's happening. And that is what you said, a root intrusion. Here's the deal about that. Your responsibility is from your home out to the tap, and the tap is yours as well. Everything inside there is the main line. So if there is a root intrusion on yours, on your service line, it's your responsibility. Whether you know about it or not, it doesn't matter. You know about it now. So you have to get it done. And it can be very, very expensive. You need to have someone honest, because there are a lot of crooks in this drain business. You have to have someone honest to look at it. Plumbline's one of them I recommend, because they have their own drain division. That is very important to understand. Almost no plumbing company has their own division. They subcontract drain work because of the backhoes and all of the heavy equipment. So I would have Plumbline do a scope. I would have them look at it and figure out what's wrong with it and give you options. They have pipe bursting they can do without excavation. They can literally go in with just 2 holes, one on one end, one on the other, and force a new pipe through sometimes. Sometimes they can patch like the section of pipe without replacing the whole thing, and sometimes they recommend the entire thing be replaced. So you need to first get it analyzed.
Okay.
And the first thing is video. And please don't use a lot of these crooks out there. There are so many crooks in the business, in the drain business. So Plumbline Services, what they'll do, and I don't know what they charge now for a camera to go down there, and maybe...
Do they come as far south as Colorado Springs?
Oh, you know what? We have somebody... Hey, Suzanne, I don't know if Plumbline would go down there for a drain job in Colorado Springs, Plumbline. We can ask them, and if not... No? Did he just tell you that, Mark? No? Okay. So we have people in the Springs, though. We do have the Springs referral list. I'll let you talk to Suzanne off the air, and we'll get you someone who you can trust to at least get your analysis. And for those listening who just heard that, I just got an instant message said, well, where are they? I talk about them every day. It's 303-586-1086. Those are the guys that will look at it. Now, they, of course, do plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, and drains, but what I like is their own drain division. Remember that whenever you're looking to have work done. All right, we have a lot more to talk about. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. And there is something that I don't like talking about, and that is personal injury, because there are so many scumbags out there trying to get your business in the law. One thing I want to tell you, though, when it comes to personal injury and accident, no matter what you do, don't talk to the other party's insurance company on the phone after the accident. The whole purpose of that phone call is to trick you. That's it. They will take what you say and use it against you. You are under no obligation to answer their questions at all, ever. So they might say, well, could you have stopped if you really tried, or if you've noticed? They say little things that can really screw you up. If you're injured, of course, you take care of your injuries. If you're unsure of whose fault it is, or if you have a claim, you can trust John Fuller at Fuller Law. You can trust him, and he's knowledgeable. 303-597-4500. 597-4500. His website is personalinjuryco.com.
It's not on there.
No, it doesn't work on. Yeah, I copied it to another. I have a 1 terabyte hard drive.
Oh, it doesn't show up on your.
And it doesn't show up on her laptop. It doesn't show up on any PCs. It shows up as a Samsung whatever. But the only way I can do anything is to format it.
I'm just going to give you a thumb drive. Okay.
I look everywhere for it.
You know what? I had a way. They let me format that any way I want. I don't know why I didn't do the universal format. I thought I did. Usually I do the PC format.
Your Mac is complicated. What can I say?
It really isn't. I have such a wonderful time with. I love my Mac. I love that is a Mac. Yeah, I love it. He just is so down on him.
Well, okay, let's see. Little Chinese. If the iPhone was a lot cheaper, I'd be fine with it.
With the kids dying.
With the kids dying.
First of all, they're not dying.
So you got
that's
it
exaggerating.
all comes down to the cost.
Dan, don't you think that's exaggerating about the kids dying?
Oh, well, you know what? You should look up how many kids have done that.
Well, Mark,
they hide it.
Mark, if they didn't put the nets, it'd be cheaper phone.
It's true. They could save money on the nets.
You know, if that's true, now he showed me the ABC story, and it was, but you can't blame Apple for that. They're not killing the kid. I mean, they're giving them a job. These kids wouldn't have better jobs. They're making it sound like the job did it. I think it's the idea that of their society, the way they're living. Why do you blame Apple for that?
Well, who's doing Samsung stuff? I mean,
Korean kids.
They jump from different buildings.
So they can handle the stress better.
What do you think they'd be doing if they
Samsung is Korean, man. It's not these Chinese. It's
Mark,
a whole
what's
different
wrong?
deal.
Here's what I'm asking. I just want an answer. What's wrong with the factory that would induce suicide? I didn't see a terrible looking place like a dungeon. I mean, what is it that makes
That was a free new building.
I don't think it's the job that's making them do it. I think you get that many people in a place like the post office.
Well, they live there. I mean, you realize a lot of them live there at Foxconn. They literally live there, work there. It's a campus.
But that's a social structure problem, right? That's not necessarily an Apple problem, because it's not just Apple's factory.
No, Foxconn happens to be, and that's where the reason a lot of these articles came out, of course, because it's Apple tied to us.
But other
he's right. It is a social.
I truly don't understand why. Honest to God, why are they committing suicide?
Because it's a social pressure, right? You have this pressure to do really well. You also have their school systems are insane in China, generally speaking. So you have this pressure from youth to adulthood, and now you're in a factory. It's a huge problem. You didn't expect yourself to be there, and you're overworked and underpaid.
Yeah, but a lot of them also come from farms where they didn't have that education, and they leave the farm, kind of like Dan. He left the farm by the creek. And he comes to the big city, and, you know, I put nets around iHeart.
Because I was trying to jump. They put a seatbelt on, so when I
just put up windows at Cal.
Oh, my.
That's what they do in Vegas. You know what, though? It's funny. If you get some of the really nice suites, you can actually open the windows, which is odd. You would think.
Foxconn. You're right. Foxconn's the name. Why is it Foxconn?
They're building the factory here since Trump did the tax cuts. Or actually, that was more the regen on the money.
There have been 17 suicides.
Really? At Foxconn?
Now, hold on, though.
Since when?
It's good.
That's one out of 1 million workers.
Oh, man, those odds are crazy.
Is that, you mean high?
Are you saying each human life isn't worth everything?
You said it depended on cost.
90 million iPhones.
Well, I mean, if I can grab an iPhone for $200, I'm willing to put up with the social.
That's went up in May after the 11th jumper. They carried a message. You can throw yourself off any building you like, as long as it is one of these. And they seem to have worked. Oh, in other words, with the nets, they mean it. It's theoretically a no. My tour guide doesn't mention the nets until I do, not to avoid the topic. So 17 suicides out of 1 million. 17 workers have killed themselves in the past half decade. So 5.
I mean, how many killed themselves at Ford? I mean, that could be a handful, too,
So
over decades.
So the terminology going postal, this is going out.
I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. We have lines
Open for the first time today, 303-713-TALK. I apologize when people have to wait, and I'm trying to get through these calls. That one woman with that certificate of occupancy, she has such a major problem that we have to help her with. Patrick, what's going on with you, Patrick?
Well, I was actually calling to give you an update, Tom.
Oh, Patrick. Okay, so Patrick, you were in the studio recently, and I appreciate you checking in with me. I was thinking about you the other day. First, I wanted you to know that we really do care about you, and we wanted to follow through. You had this depression. You said, you know, there was a little failure to cope. You get angry sometimes. You're on medication. I'm just trying to bring people up to date. And I asked you to come in the studio so we could get to know you. At first, I thought it was just a typical failure to launch, maybe over-mothered or too much, I don't know, whatever. And then I changed my mind a bit and thought that you had a problem. Mark thought you needed a swift kick here and there to help you. And I think there's a combination of both. But you were applying for a job. How did it go?
Good. I actually will be going in tomorrow and filling out paperwork.
Good. So you're hired.
Yes.
Now you just got to show up and work.
Right. And then what normally, when you used to work in the past, what normally, not normally, but what would get you angry? What is it that sparks your ire, or things that make you unhappy with a job? What is it that starts? Can you give me an idea?
My self-failures. Like I'll mess up on something and I'll get angry at myself more likely.
You get frustrated.
Yes.
You need to cut yourself a break, man, and forget about that. As long as you're working, you'll be fine.
And remember I told you communication is a big deal. So many times depressed people are very, very introverted, and they're also a bit selfish, meaning, you didn't strike me as this, but sometimes depressed people almost want the world to revolve around them, and they feel like everything is done to them or done against them. And I knew a depressed guy one time, and no matter what you talked about, it always came back to him. Like, oh, well, I'm not feeling up to it, and this did this, and this went wrong, and this went wrong. It's actually weird, but they're very narcissistic, depressed people can be, as opposed to what you think. You might think, oh, the poor people, they don't mean to be like that, but I think too much introversion and too much concentration on yourself can cause depression. Because you're just too hard on yourself. So, Patrick, one of the things I stressed was communication. Many times a depressed person can be perceived as impolite or disrespectful or angry because they're not communicating. And I said, make sure you communicate. Tell people what's going on. I'm so happy you're communicating with us. But with your friend's mom, you're staying with your friend, make sure I have a plan. I really do think I should be chipping in and sharing. I want to do that. Let them know what's in your heart, even though you might think they already know. So how is that living situation going? Because that's what I'm concerned about. If you get kicked out on the street, it's going to be difficult. So how is that going?
It's going good.
Good. Communication. What about transportation? How are you going to get to work?
Walk and bike.
Okay, bike is good. Walking could be hard. How far is it?
Just over 3 miles.
Okay. Uber and Lyft. I don't know if you want to consider those. They're not that much money. Now, a lot of people might think, well, they are. But
in Parker, they're not going to be horrible.
Oh, no, it's in, yeah. I would consider every once in a while, especially with bad weather, instead of not showing up, trying an Uber or a Lyft. They're so reasonable. In fact, Mark, I don't even know how they can do it for that price. Patrick, if you could make sure we have a way of getting in touch with you, I think we do, but...
I do, Tom.
Good. Keep us informed, Patrick. Baby steps, one thing at a time.
Over, under?
No, I'm not going to bet against him.
I didn't ask you to bet against him. Maybe I'd take the over.
I don't want you to bet against him.
I'm not betting against him.
Well, then, how would we both bet for him and win?
I don't know.
Okay. 303-713-TALK. George, you want to know about the Supreme Court and divorce laws? And we have some lines open. 303-713-TALK. Please get your calls in. 713-8255. What's going on, George?
Well, I wanted to make people aware of it. So next week, the Supreme Court of the United States is hearing oral arguments for a case that originated out of Minnesota.
What's the case?
It involves revocation on divorce statutes. Now, while it's out of Minnesota, we in Colorado have the same kind of statutes.
Could you tell me what is the issue, though, George? What do you mean revocation?
The issue is two people in 1997. Two people got married.
Okay.
The man listed his new wife as typically as the beneficiary on his life insurance policy.
Okay.
That's pretty standard. They stay married for 10 years and then get divorced.
Okay.
Then 3 years later, he dies.
Okay.
So she wants, as the beneficiary, wants that money from the insurance policy. The kids, for her kids, say they ought to get the money, and that her beneficiary status goes away because of what's called the revocation on divorce statute, which is kind of like a default setting for beneficiary status.
So wait a minute. Are you saying, George, just so I understand clearly, are you saying that the way the law stands now, the default is if you get divorced, the beneficiary status on everything you have goes away?
every state may have slight variation on it.
But in Colorado, when you get divorced, are you automatically removed as a beneficiary from your spouse's life insurance and other stuff, or just life insurance?
I believe all personal contracts, these kinds of contracts. Now, there are lots of...
I'm sorry, George, but real quick, on a beneficiary of a life insurance policy, I don't think that's correct. I think if I list Suzanne and her and I get divorced, it doesn't change.
Well, hold on.
Well, you're wrong. It's Colorado Section 15-11804. Now, but there are easy ways to work with this, and most competent attorney, attorney...
Hold on so I don't run overtime, okay? I want to hear this. I do want to hear it, and I just don't want to go too far. 303-713-TALK. We have lines open. You can get right through if you want to rant, if you want to rave. We also have Truth or Dare that we're bringing back. That means you can ask any question you want about any case, anywhere, any sponsor, any behind the scenes. We have Ted with us. Ted Rowland is the owner of K&H Home Solutions. He really enlightened me on the extrusions, the frames, the vinyl, the virgin vinyl that you get for your windows. You want to have strong frames with a lot of extrusions in between, like chambers, but you want them insulated to the extent they can be. And that makes not only a stout frame, but it makes it energy efficient. But he said the overall U value is what you're looking for in a window between 0 and 1. And U takes into consideration many elements, right, Ted? Many different elements.
That's correct.
All right. Now, what about the hardware? What would you look for in hardware? And we'll talk about the assembly of the other stuff, but I just want to go over the major stuff. What would you look for in hardware?
Hardware, you want windows that when they lock, you want to make sure that the locks, for lack of a better term, sucks the two panels of the window, the two sashes of the windows together so that they seal better.
So it's not just like a pin that goes across and keeps it from opening. It's something that actually latches and pulls it in.
Right.
Okay. Now, but what about brand of hardware? Does that matter anymore?
Well, the predominant hardware in the industry is Truth Hardware.
Do you like it?
Players. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they make some good stuff.
And is that including, when we talk about hardware, are we talking about hinges?
Not so much hinges on, on a casement window, yes.
Okay.
A crank-out window, yeah.
All right.
You have a hinge there.
303-713-TALK. Again, we'll get right to all of the calls. 303-713-8255. Rocky's Auto, 63rd and Federal. Used cars, trucks, SUVs, and vans. The big deal about Rocky's right now, their all-new designed website, rockysautos.com. Check it out. You'll love it. You'll also love the multiple lenders they have to choose from when buying a car. And unlike other dealers, they make absolutely sure everything is originated. The note, it's approved, it's funded. Before you drive down the road, they do not play games like calling you back and saying, we got a problem. That's Rocky's, 63rd and Federal. And don't forget their new hours, okay? It's Monday through Friday, 9 to 7, and Saturday, 9 to 6. Rocky'sAutos.com.
Who?
Caller. He was like, no offense, Suzanne, but your husband's a douchebag.
Why do
So at least he was nice to me.
Why do they say that?
It's
He's
Mark,
so
and then
nice.
the next guy.
He's the milk of human kindness.
I'm known for my sensitivity.
I don't understand.
This other guy calls and says, what did Mark mean by over-under? So I had to explain to him how you're betting on how long his job would be and what a pessimist you were. And
Kind and so wonderful.
Did you see Kim's email about me? Kim from Boulder?
Oh,
What an angel
she can't
I
stand
am.
me. She cannot stand me. She loves Mark.
She's Mark's group.
His one and only fan.
She only wanted emails him.
How long do you think he has a job?
Like I say, I think it just helps that he's checking in.
I think it's great he's checking out.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I think that's going to put him into...
I just know a lot of that backstory, man.
Well, a lot of it is, like you say...
So is your comment intended to challenge him, or what?
Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
This guy had no emotion.
He needs to show me.
No emotion. when he was here. And they were saying that, so he didn't change his facial expression at all. I think he's a perfectionist, and so if he screws up, he starts getting beaten up, and he talks to himself, and and all this. People think he's weird at work.
That's what we should have done. We should have said, hey, we check in and I don't even know what's fair. 30 days, honestly.
You don't even know the job.
Yeah. See, that's going to be the biggest deciding factor, right? What the job is.
Well, it's going to be retail, I'm sure. Retail of some sort. Because he's walking to it 3 miles away. We know where he lives. I mean, you're talking Best Buy, you're talking fast foods, there's all kinds of stuff there. Well, we should have said, hey, 30 days, we'll give you this.
Well, we got his number. We can ask him stuff. Maybe
that's what we should do. We should actually set him up a phone.
And say every week, every couple of weeks, we'll take you out to lunch.
Dan will take you out to lunch every couple of weeks.
I was thinking you.
But no, if you make lunches with Mark, you'll need a net for him.
Yeah. You tell him not to go Apple. So
went through
going postal, now it's going Apple.
14 cars. And how many years was that? 5, 6 years.
No, I think he started like he was in 17.
No jobs.
14.
How many different
Not
jobs
total.
was there?
I think he buys junk cars and stuff, and he gets them repossessed.
We have a true insider that has shed a lot of light.
Oh, he's going through bankruptcy. He's got to go through bankruptcy.
He was holding out for management. He got hired at a fast food place, and he decided to go to the movies instead of work there. So he got fired. The family knows the owner of that particular Taco Bell or the manager or whatever, and he had the opportunity to go back and get his job back even after he didn't show up because he wanted to go to the movies. But when he went back, he said, well, I want to at least start as assistant manager. So, I mean, what can I say?
But it was a good movie, though.
It's a hell of a movie. Star Trek. The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, that is a problem. You get a lot of these young kids that want to put in their 2 weeks' time and then be boss.
You guys don't have a fast track for management?
Not that fast.
Hey man, if you go in and generate money, that's how you get the management. You know what we should have done is throw him a bone. If he makes it 30 days, you'll take him to Florida with you.
If who makes it 30 days?
You could use your condo for a weekend.
Listen, here's the deal. If that kid can make it,
I want more kindness. I don't want Trump stuff.
If the kid can make it 30 days, Tom's agreed to let him live in the condo and let him use the Mercedes.
I don't have the Mercedes.
I'm sorry, the Tahoe. That is nice of him.
That's nice. With liquor and food.
If he goes 60, can he get helicopter privileges? He doesn't want to go through the full training. He wants a fast track.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome to the show, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. When you speak about addiction, there's no easy way to put it. People don't know what to do. When they find out there's an addiction in their home, in their family, in their circle of friends, and they want information, that's the very first thing people want. I'll bet you that everyone knows someone who's addicted. I'll bet you. I'll bet you. I'll bet you. Maybe not even close to you, but you know somebody. Mark, do you know someone addicted? I'll bet you do.
I know someone dead that was extremely addicted.
Dan, do you? Yes or no? Nod? You know any? No circle of friends? Okay, not that you know of. That's a good one, too. Suzanne, you know probably people who are addicted, right?
Yeah, I've known a few.
I've known people. It's amazing. Here's the thing, though. If you find something in your kid's room or you find something, your wife or husband in their jacket, and you're thinking, what's going on? You can call this number. It's not for anything but information. That's it. Confidential, and it's private, of course. It is free, complimentary. The Raleigh House is a premier addiction recovery program, multiple locations in Denver, and all they want to do is give out information about treatment programs, not just there, but anywhere, about cost, about duration, about insurance, about anything, what to look for, signs, how to approach an addict, whatever questions you have.
this has been a huge success because people don't know where to turn. You're embarrassed, so you may not want to talk to a relative about it. You can call the Raleigh House and straight out say, my son, I believe, is an addict. Can you help me? What do I do? What should I look for? Just any question. 720-893-5559. This is one of the most important things we've done. We can count the number right now of people that we've helped, and it's wonderful.
You know,
720-893-5559.
Their main intake guy, Julian, who was in, yesterday, he suffered from a lot of that, man. He lived there. He's been in the shoes. They're great people down there. Hey, real quick on Patrick, who's getting a job.
Our guy, Patrick.
Here's what I'm going to do, because you know what? I want to give him a reason to succeed.
Okay, so what are you going to do?
If April 30th rolls around and he still has his same job, I'm not going to tell people where he's working, but we know. And in fact, I know someone there, which is odd enough. If he's still there, I'm going to hand that kid $200 as a bonus to keep.
I'm going to hold you to that, Mark.
Okay. You know what? So April 1st, 200.
No, April 1st, April 30th.
April 30th.
Anybody can go 14 days.
Okay. That is pretty cool.
See? Look at me.
You know what we
Look at me.
We ought to get people who will give him a bonus, who will match that or give anything, and we'll put it in a little fund for him. So, Patrick, if you're listening, I'm going to match it. Mark's going to do it. So that, and it was Mark's idea, $400. And then anyone else who wants to chip in to see if Patrick keeps this job, and we're hoping you do.
That's a good idea. Maybe we can help him save up for a car or something along those lines.
And Patrick, also, I want you, also, there's free help available for mental illness and for depression. There's free help available. By the way, if anyone else is in Patrick's situation, you don't have to do it alone. This show, we say we're consumer advocates, but I promise you, we will help you with personal issues like that if you contact us. Now, George, I know we don't have enough time, but I want to come back to you, and I apologize, but we do want to talk about this divorce case where he said the laws, it's before the Supreme Court, as to whether or not you should automatically be terminated as a beneficiary when it comes to an insurance policy or other things. And we will do it. I didn't take him back because we didn't have enough time, so we'll do it after this. I'm Tom Martino for Ideal.
I got a better idea.
There's a chance, as slight as it is, I may have to dock your pay $200.
I got a better idea. What? We give them that car that's at Sheridan.
Ooh, let's not even mention. Well, let's make that like a three-month deal. You know what I'm saying?
If we don't give it away to someone else. Oh, it's a stick.
We tried
I'll
to
bet
get,
you
you want to hear a funny story? So Daphne, yes, I know she's listening.
Yes, Daphne.
Wanted to give a car away to a homeless lady. Okay? Now, whatever. I'm like, okay, well, long as I guess she can show us insurance and pay the taxes on it and register it and stuff. Well, we find out she doesn't have a license. Hasn't had a license. So Daphne, at this point, she's like 50 years old, sets it up to where she's going to go down to DMV and get a license and take the test. Of course, a woman's no-show.
Wait, why does she have to do that?
Because she never had a license. She wanted to give a car to a homeless lady that didn't have a license.
Oh, the woman, that's right, I remember.
We were basically going to give her a house on wheels is what it was coming down to. So we yanked the plug at the last minute. There's no way we're giving her it. God, that was unbelievable. And, you ready for this? You ready? She was on the lam.
Okay.
She was wanted.
So a guy who called and said you were a douchebag called me back and said you redeemed yourself.
Oh.
Just me this day.
All right, well, you know what? I'll make him change his mind next hour.
Mark, this is all over this revocation of it's called, it's really controversial on revocation by divorce, it's called.
I was reading about it. That's why I wanted her to get.
But one law professor said.
All I said, and I know I'm right, if I list her as a beneficiary on the life insurance policy, which is the contract, I don't care if we get divorced or not, until I change that, she's a beneficiary.
Okay, hold on. It says by contract she is, but this is the argument before the Supreme Court. There is a doctrine of revocation by divorce, it's called, and the argument is, should it be applied to life insurance. And there are arguments on both sides.
As long as if I want to keep her.
Right now, according to law in Colorado, it is automatically terminated right now in Colorado.
You get David up to say that.
Okay, a couple of things. Brent's going to be on
According to
access
this law.
at the top of the hour, Brent.
Yeah.
And then Gigi, I guess Jess reached out to Gigi herself, because Gigi just texted me
Good.
saying,
Good.
I just talked to her on the phone, I'm
Good.
free if you need me. Do you want to
Good.
chat it, everybody?
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
I truly want to ask David that.
So what, it's terminated
So
because she
you may
uses
not
her...
know about it. That's not the one to ask.
He deals with that all the time. I guarantee he deals with people dying in the life insurance policy as an ex-wife.
So Tom,
George, what's the CRS?
You were the one. You were the one who didn't find out.
And we're all
that she
CRS.
had
Just need to get that.
You gave it to me, and I had to.
And after you found out she was on the lam, you still wanted to give her the car.
Okay, listen, Mark, look up CRS 1511-804.
What is it?
Just look up
CRS.
CRS.
So is it terminated because she loses her insurable interest?
1511-804. I don't know. Because there are some lawyers that are saying the reason it's before the Supreme Court are saying it's a matter of contract, not marriage. So why should it automatically terminate? It's a matter of contract.
It can't automatically. What happens if your intent is it does go to the ex-wife because she's still raising the kids or something?
I know it, Mark. I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just going by what this guy said and by his supposed law.
How is it I'm the voice of reason? How is this?
Divorce separation.
It's a contract.
And in fact, some divorces might tell you have.
It's even worse than that. If my will says everything goes to my current wife, and I forgot to change that on the contract, it's still going to go to the ex-wife.
So just thinking these here, it sounds like the kids want it, even though that's her mom.
But there's got to be an insurable interest in order for you to have a beneficiary to begin with.
To begin with.
Yeah.
But even with Keyman Insurance, if you and I are partners, and we break up in the middle of the year and you die 3 months later,
I know nothing about this fucking law. I'm just looking at it. That's why I'm asking you to look at it.
So they can even extend that to cars, right? You know, here they got a car in both names, no? And now they...
In both names is different. I'm thinking more bank accounts, anything. How about a college fund that you both have for a minor? What does that mean? How does that get handled?
I can't believe it's going to the Supreme Court.
Well, someone's arguing it. So something.
The Supreme Court has to take it.
No, they don't have to take it.
No, they don't have to take it. They say if they want to take it.
I can't find this damn law. I just find parts of it. I can't find the law.
Well, it's like that law that if you don't want to pay for license plates, what was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to pay the tax.
Here it is. Here it is.
$7.
Except as provided by the express terms of a governing instrument, a court order, or a contract relating to the division of marital property. It says a divorce revokes any revocable disposition or appointment of property made by a divorced individual. Oh, this is so long. I just can't read everything. Severs the interest of the former spouse in property held by them at the time of the divorce.
If it's revocable.
Well, but life insurance
Revokes any revocable disposition. Well, yeah, but Mark, insurance is revocable.
No, I'm saying it's not because there's actually a contract in place. If there was no contract in place, I'd say it was revocable.
No, Mark, irrevocable in this sense means, I know I'm right here. When you designate a beneficiary on a bank account, on insurance fraud, on anything, it's revocable.
Yes, if I revoke,
you can change it. Correct. Yeah. So they're saying, but I still didn't read anything about beneficiaries. This is too long to read on the air.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Welcome to the only show of its kind anywhere in the universe. This hour brought to you by Ideal Home Loans. For your next Ideal Home Loan, we are consumer advocates, solving problems, answering questions, taking complaints. If you want to sum up the show, just say help. And without further ado, we're going to get to some of these issues. This thing about revocable upon divorce is a very complicated topic, and it's before the Supreme Court, and we'll summarize that. I don't know how many people it affects. I imagine it can affect a lot. We'll talk about that. This thing about bankruptcy and fraud and not disclosing stuff and then going bankrupt, saying you don't have any assets when you transfer stuff, that is out-and-out fraud, and it seems like a guy is getting away with it, and we asked Gigi Wink and Wink to look into it. We also have questions on taxes. We have K&H Home Solutions with us, too, discussing Windows. We talked about the things to look for in Windows. Right now, Brent Ivinson, quickly, tell us about these shorter term and custom term loans, because people want to take advantage sometimes of lower rates, and but they don't want to go back to 30 years. They've been paying for years.
Right, and the thing that's been a problem in the past is that you want to take that progress with you. Let's say that you've paid 7 years off of your 30-year mortgage. You don't want to go to a 20-year loan because your payment's going to go up, but you would like to take advantage of lower rates and a lower monthly payment. You need a 23-year home loan, and that's exactly what we can give you. The other thing we're seeing, people going to 15-year loans and shortening their term to pay their house off more quickly, your payment's not going to double. Interest rates are much more competitive on these shorter-term products. You're going to find you can pay your house off more quickly, save yourself 6 figures in payments and interest, and not spend much more every month than you are in your current 30-year home loan today.
And if you're worried about interest rates, of course, they have the interest rate guarantee. If they go down by even 0.75% for 2 years, they'll refinance you. That's Ideal Home Loans. IdealHomeLoans.com, 303-867-7000. Now, George, I don't want to get into a debate about whether this is the law or not, because as I read it, it's not so clear-cut. So I don't want to get into that debate. But let's say, for argument's sake, what you're saying is this particular law in Colorado, and other states have it, the law says upon divorce, automatically your designations for beneficiary and other things are revoked if it's covered by the law. Again, I didn't go through each and every word of the law, but for argument's sake, let's say that's true. Now, that's being challenged as to whether or not it should automatically be revoked. There are some legal opinions that say whether it's your marital status or not, insurance is a contract. And by matter of contract, if you did not change it, it should stand the way it is agreed to by contract. There are others who say, no, this law should remove that woman or that man as beneficiary. Now, George, why do you think it's important that it's before the Supreme Court?
Well, for people who do their due diligence and or have good representation, I don't think ultimately it's going to matter, because my point of calling is to make sure people are aware of it so they attend to it. Across the board, no matter what, there's always an out, as there is in Colorado. If both parties agree during the divorce proceedings that they want to maintain the beneficiary status, they can put that in writing and the court can approve it. In Colorado, alternatively, the judge, he or herself, can stipulate that will remain, because it's an equitable state. So it's not 50-50, it's equitable.
But you're saying it's something we shouldn't ignore.
You shouldn't ignore it. That's it. Don't ignore it. Don't think that, well, it's taken care of. I don't have to attend to it in the divorce. There are, these kinds of little details that are stickers if you don't pay attention to them. That's all. I don't know what the Supreme Court's ultimately going to do. The suggestion is maybe at least force the state courts to alert the parties that they need to attend to it one way or another.
Yeah, well, thank you, George. And here's my opinion. My opinion is, if you as a married couple, if you have contracts, all contracts should stay in force unless in the divorce you modify it, right? Because like you said, Mark, there are plenty of times a husband wants to leave money to his wife because she's raising the kids or whatever. But I don't think any revocation should be automatic. I don't know why they would.
I remember Salisbury telling me about a case he had where the guy changed his will, and in the will it said, I leave the life insurance to my new wife, but because the beneficiary never got changed on the contract with the life insurance company, they wrote her the check.
Right, because the life insurance company is saying, we're doing what's by contract.
That we have to do.
Yeah, the will, we were never notified. Okay, I want to go to Jess again, and Jess doesn't really have to say much, but she bought a house, and this is remarkable. She bought a house, and there's loads of problems because they never got their final inspection approved, and never got the final CO, and she's facing $25,000 in repairs. Now, the people who sold it to her basically said, we're not doing anything about it. You know, go away. But in her research, Jess found, now listen, this is where Wink and Wink comes in, Gigi, Jessie was researching this deal, and she found that the couple who sold her the home had previously gone bankrupt.
Yep.
And in the bankruptcy, they claimed no assets, yet...
That's not correct.
Oh,
but they didn't, from what she told me, they did claim their primary residence, they claimed other assets. When you look it up on it...
Okay, but hold on, Gigi, just one second. I just want to say what Jess thought. Jess thought that they had transferred the house to their kids, did not claim it in the bankruptcy, and therefore defrauded the courts, and that was just a side note. Gigi...
That does look to be true. So they did not claim the transfer. That was not listed.
But did they claim the house then?
No, because if they didn't list it, if they didn't own it because they had transferred it to their children, that wouldn't be something you would list as an asset. But you do have to list any transfers of property in the last 2 years.
Did they do that?
No.
Okay, so they did. Then it does appear they lied on their application.
Yeah, if they had transferred that property within 2 years of filing that Chapter 7, they are required to list that transfer.
Okay, they did not list it, so what happens now?
But how do we know that? Or Gigi, are you saying that? Are you stating that as a fact?
Well, I haven't seen that they transferred it.
Oh.
But they did transfer it. I mean, she's telling me that they transferred it to their children in 06.
You don't know. That's the thing she hasn't seen. Right.
Yeah, that's what I haven't
But
seen.
if there truly is a transfer of record in 06, and it was never reported, then it looks like a free and clear house worth maybe $250,000. How much is it worth, Jess?
$275,000.
So a $275,000 asset, free and clear, was transferred to kids and never reported to the trustee. Why wouldn't the trustee know about this? Don't they investigate?
No. It's the honor system mostly. I mean, they do not investigate every case. There are random audits. And if, something comes up that causes the trustee to look further, they absolutely can.
I wonder if they filed the deed, the quit claim when they did it.
If you lie on your bankruptcy, you may get away with it. Or, as is the case here, you may get nailed
now, hold
11
on.
years later.
But can they get nailed? Is there any statute?
Oh, it's absolutely. If that house was fraudulently transferred, the trustee can go after them now.
For how long, Gigi? I mean, 10 years, 20 years?
I don't think there's any. I'm not aware of any statute of limitations.
Okay, that's what I thought. Now, Jess, Gigi, on this deal, obviously they'd have to show the trustee. Do you know the trustee of record?
Yes, it's and it's really you don't even take it up with her. You go to the U.S. trustee. Those people all just serve at their discretion. They're quasi-employees, but it's the U.S. trustee that investigates bankruptcy.
Now, here's the way I have heard, Gigi.
Yeah.
They investigate everything, because I had people coming out of the woodwork with all kinds of false accusations. They investigate everything.
And I emailed Jess a link to that U.S. trustee website on how to report suspected bankruptcy fraud, where to send it. You can send it through the mail and by email, and the more information, the better chance that they'll
I think she should send. Of course, we know when the bankruptcy was filed. We have a case number. So she references the bankruptcy, no asset, no transfer. Oh, excuse me, it wasn't a no asset, but it was a no transfer. And then we simply send a copy of that transfer.
Did they file the transfer?
Yep. And
hold on, Jess. If they would have had to, how would Jesse find out about it?
How about if they just did a quit claim and never filed it? I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Well,
then they'd have to claim it as an asset.
Right.
Even if they quit claimed it but never filed it.
Mark, unless it's filed,
it's
not transferred.
Okay.
It must be filed to be transferred. So they either did not claim it as an asset.
Well, let's do an O&E on the house.
They did not. Well, right now, Jess owns it.
I think she
Oh,
got
I see what
all
she
of
I
that.
sent the warranty deeds. You have
Yeah.
them in your email so you can see them. I sent the proof.
Okay. Well, this is very, very interesting.
Send us the info on the house.
Now,
Did you just say you did?
Got it.
Ironically, this may not help Jess in her quest.
If they have no money.
I mean, she is what called
they do.
She is what's called a bona fide purchaser for value, and so I don't believe they'll be able to take anything back from her. That would just leave that there's no remedy by going to get the property back because the bona fide purchaser
And Jesse,
value's got it.
we need to make sure we do not blackmail them either. I mean, we can't say to them,
no,
we're not going to report this fraud if you take care of these repairs. Because really, I mean, that's the temptation, is to call those and say, look, you lying cheats, you screwed Jess out of 25 grand or more. If you don't pay up, yeah, that's wrong. I mean, that's blackmail.
Well, here's the thing, too, is they don't know, but I found all the original documentation in the house, including the original certificate of occupancy, the temporary one, signed in blue ink. They left every original document on the house for the well, permit, engineer in a folder, and they don't know that I know that they're lying. That was the seal of the deal.
Well, okay. Here's what we can do, Jess. We can imply that, and it's true, I'm going to word it so it's true, that this whole thing will go away if they pay for the repairs. Meaning,
And it will.
that part, that's right, that part
I
will.
want them to do the right thing. I asked them.
You will go away, and you will not pursue any complaints of fraud or anything if they pay, because it's not your business. I'm going to put in the complaint. Or you just don't even say that. Just say, all you want is are the repairs made, or you're going to make a big stink about this. But I will tell you, there is no way in hell these people are going to get away with this. There's no way. Because this is wrong. This is what's wrong with the system. And as Gigi says, so many people believe it happens all the time, and it doesn't. That's why it's so egregious.
Yep.
I mean, you don't just hide a $275,000 piece of asset. That is wrong.
No. And I bet they didn't even tell anyone. They probably did it and didn't tell their attorney and just.
And you know what? You name on the lawsuit, if you do have to sue the kids as well, because they took part of the fraud.
Yep.
And this is bad. Okay, so we are following this along. We were going to call it fraudulent house sale, right, Dan, for our follow-up or whatever. 303-713-TALK. This is bad news. Bad news, as I told you. Now, let's talk about people. And when we were talking about buying houses, let's talk about Frank Duran, therealestateman.com. Now, I can't tell you, things like this don't happen in real estate, but Frank Duran will have you do the right thing. When it comes to buying and selling real estate, not only is he honest and ethical, but he is forthright, and he's also aggressive when it comes to marketing your home. He does proactive marketing, outbound marketing, as well as everything else. 303-920-1622. Frank Duran, therealestateman.com.
This report is... There's another thing she had said, too.
What?
She had sent
This is a good one, Dan.
I know. She had sent it to
Yeah, of course I do.
She'd sent it to every other news agency and stuff. We're the first one to get back. I told her not to say anything more because we will keep it hushed as far as where it's at and everything, and other people might let it out.
And she better. No, you tell her flat out, we're not going to work and help with her if she goes elsewhere right now. We need, because I don't want to do all this work and then have it.
No, I told her, like, say, we will keep it quiet.
This is terrible.
Yeah, it is.
This is terrible. How you doing, Clint?
I had a 10:15 doctor appointment. They saw me at 11:40.
No, that's wrong. Why don't you charge me your time?
Hey, I've got an incredible follow-up on that guy that fell down the stairs.
How about the Excel person?
And I'm asking, has he brought the paperwork back? I let him get away with that, the thing to redo it for the lawsuit.
What are we talking about? Oh, that. Yeah.
That one.
I love that homework.
And he hasn't brought that back yet downstairs. Damn it, I don't have his phone number because all my information was on that lawsuit sheet.
Oh, I got it.
You have it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call him.
All right, I want to see where this talks about.
Mark, I have a doctor's appointment Thursday, and if I'm late, I have to. Will you be here Thursday morning? Because I might be late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now's the time. At Dunrate, we offer only the finest cabinet resurfacing,
Let's see here. Within 180 days for the filing of my bankruptcy. That's the council.
And you'll see how your unique kitchen and bath is become your reality. Come on, folks, get her done. Once and for all. Kitchen and bath.
Credit counsel agency.
My biology doctor. Oh, my wife loves her biology doctor.
Okay, here's income from
Biology is like hormones. They balance your hormones. Well, you know, balance is a bad word. They optimize. They don't just balance. Because a lot of people have balanced hormones, but they're not like really doing well. You gotta optimize.
When it comes to the IRS, I refer them to lawyers and tax relief. If you owe taxes,
testosterone shots or
these
testosterone
guys are the
therapy.
best. They're smart. They have a fantastic team
You
of
can't believe
experts.
what does it. You're 67. You don't look a day over 59. I know you're 57.
At least you didn't say you're over 69.
I don't know anybody, Tom, in their 60s that's on testosterone now. Yeah, but just testosterone is not what you want.
Well, I know,
That
yeah.
You want, now that's where you do want.
I have the anastrozole and
What you really need is low triglycerides.
they balance your testosterone, your the female hormone, estrogen, and your thyroid. They all kind of have to work together. And they do.
So they want to sit down and talk about HomeSmart. They don't want to come on the air. Mark, they want to discuss the issue.
No, they want to sell fucking HomeSmart. That's exactly what they want to do. Are you kidding me? They want to come on and make it sound like the greatest thing in the
They don't
world.
want to come on at all. They want to talk, discuss with you and me. Let's do it.
I guess so.
Worth checking into.
They want to be a sponsor.
Make sure Dan's not at the meeting because he loves him.
All I say is it's
If
spelled
you
out.
love him, just stop.
Well, all I say it's not.
You need more of Mark's ball busters in
No,
there and a little,
it's
everything by a little.
Everything is spelled out.
You need to blend a little of my human compassion.
List all property, other property transferred in the
Oh, Mark, that's a serious transfer.
ordinary course of business.
Ted's the owner of K&H. Home Solutions. It doesn't say all property sold. Yeah, Tom
Martino here. Who am I going to call if I need garage door stuff done? Anything. A broken spring, I don't know what to do, can't open the door. One Clear Choice. So remember, One Clear Choice garage door should be your clear choice for garage door stuff. OneClearChoiceDoors.com. We love these guys because they truly know what they're doing, and they're on time, and they give you all prices up front, and they even do free inspections and all of that. And lubrications and adjustments free when you call them and ask for the Martino inspection, the complimentary inspection, because they want to be your garage door company. New opener starting at just $333. OneClearChoiceDoors.com, 303-565-6409. So we're talking about this fraud thing. This is bothering me, man. This is really bothering me. We also have K&H Home Solutions, and we did not finish all the components of the window. We'll get to that, but I just need to get to people who have been waiting a long time. And that's Dave. What's going on, Dave?
Pretty good, Tom. How you doing? Hey, I have a question about a tax question. I know somebody that was involved with some crap. He's kind of naive. A business was in his name. He didn't think it was his name. But anyway, long story short, his partners went to prison, and he had a public defender, and he got 7 years probation, and he got stuck with restitution of $400,000.
$400,000?
Right.
Yeah.
And, he's crying bloody Mary about it. He doesn't know how he's going to pay that back. Says he, and his public defender said it's called double jeopardy. Don't worry about IRS. Is that true?
No, wait a minute. Okay. What do you mean not worry about IRS, double jeopardy? He was, the thing he went to trial for was what? What was the charge?
He was indicted. They were all indicted.
For what?
Racketeering and theft of credit cards and something like that. I'm not for sure.
Now, that is not tax evasion. That's racketeering. So tax evasion is in and of itself different. In other words, there have been people arrested only on tax evasion. That's how they got Legs Diamond.
As silly as it sounds, you still have to pay taxes on stolen money.
Right. In fact, there is actually a line that asks about illegal income and proceeds, illegal proceeds. So it is on the form. You have to claim. Otherwise, tax evasion is absolutely a crime, and they will come after him. If he has taxes due on illegal income, he has to pay them. It is not double jeopardy.
Okay, I'll let him know about that.
So now, is he on probation right now?
7 years.
Okay. Do you realize that this guy is responsible for that money? He better do more than cry, because bankruptcy won't get him out of it either.
No.
He needs to call over and talk to Larson.
That's exactly who I was going to say. Larson Tax Relief. Because here's what Larson can do. Now, I'm not speaking for them as far as guarantees, but if it's impossible that this guy will never have this money or assets or anything, they will do some kind of settlement.
Wow.
Double jeopardy as well is only on that charge. There's been times where someone's been brought up on state charges for like murder or something, and even though they're found not guilty, if it's still a federal crime, that same thing, if it was an officer or a federal employee, the feds can go after them.
Wow.
So anyway, it's really bad, and you got to tell him to go to Larson Tax Relief, okay? Scott, what's going on, Scott?
Hi, Tom. Great show today.
Thank you, sir. What can I do to help you?
Well, see, I paid my house off last year in October.
Congratulations, brother.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a big relief.
Oh.
So I'm wondering if the county or the deed company should I get a deed in the mail or
of course.
something?
Yeah. No, well, hold on. You know, the deed is filed. What you do is you get a release of deed of trust, it's called. A release, okay. It's a release of deed of trust.
And the promissory note.
And then you also get the promissory note marked paid in full. Now, these are very important. What's that?
I did get that.
Okay. So. You got that quicker because it's not filed. It's not with the county. They have it in their records. So they marked it paid in full. Then they send the release of deed of trust to the county, and that's actually recorded. So whenever someone does an O&E, ownerships and encumbrances on a property, they get to see the lineage of deeds. So one deed might be from A to B, then from B to C, and then from C to D, and then what happens is D gets a loan. So then it's D with Bank X, and then Bank X has a deed of trust. When he pays it off, you then have a release of deed of trust, and then you keep all of these, and they're all recorded. So it's not like you get the deed after that, although you do have a warranty deed, and you could literally go to the county and have one printed out. Yes. But, you know, most people don't. So here's the deal, sir. You should get that within 3 months.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes 6 months. They're really behind in some counties. What county is this?
Jefferson County.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 to 6 months. But I would start asking questions. If you don't get it in 90 days, I would ask some serious questions, like, first, was it even filed? Not recorded, but filed. Was it dropped off at the county?
And you can call a title company and pay a few bucks, figure that out.
And what they do is they actually file it, and when they drop it off, you get a receipt. And then I think the dropping off is recorded, but their actual recording, it's weird. I don't know why when you drop it off, it's just not recorded. I don't know why, actually. I don't know what they actually do. But then you're given a reception number, you're giving a page number, an entry number, and all of that. 303-713-8255.
Did you get that email? Did Suzanne send you that on that bankruptcy deal?
On which bankruptcy deal?
On the one we were talking about, the people that bought that house.
Okay.
I want you to open that up.
Okay, we'll read it during the break. I want to ask Ted, we talked about the extrusions. These are the vinyl rails that make up the frame. We talked about the hardware, Truth Hardware or comparable, and really the thing you're looking for with hardware, with a U value, which is the energy efficiency of a window. And then we're going to talk about glass, but he said, and he keeps saying, assembly is important. So before we get into the glass, let's skip to assembly. What do you look for in assembly of a window, Ted Rowland, owner of K&H Home Solutions? What do you look for?
Well, you want to make sure things like the corners of the windows are welded. You want to make sure that...
and that's important, not just screwed together.
Right.
Even with brackets. They have to be welded. Now, if they're welded and screwed, or they have internal reinforcements. But I want to ask you about that. Do you think, and I do, neatness counts. I want to know those miters are tight, those angles, there's no gap, and that you don't have a big bead of vinyl sitting there, looks like paste.
Yeah, you know, when companies assemble as many windows as get assembled, you are going to get a little bit of variation there, but there shouldn't be a lot of variation. It should be pretty clean. And some of that stuff gets cleaned in the field when we do the
Some of that is aesthetics, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's not structural.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so what do you look for other than that in assembly, like hardware? I mean, what can we do as consumers? I mean, obviously we don't have testing equipment. We have to rely somewhat on the dealer, on the manufacturer,
Right.
but what can we do when we're shopping? We're literally in a showroom shopping, looking at cross-sections or looking at assembly.
Well, the assembly of the window, you want to make sure that it's tight, that there
Right.
aren't there's a lot of movement when the window gets locked down, that there's not a lot of slop moving the window up and down or side to side.
And on the cranks as well, right? If you have a casement window,
Right. That when it's closed, it's sealed. It's that there is fin seal or some sort of seal, because the moving parts of the windows have gaps in them, and they have to be covered. I mean, there's certain tolerances in there.
Mhm.
Usually they're between 1/8 and 1/16 of an inch.
Now, I notice a lot of showrooms or a lot of places that show windows, they have the heat test. They have a heat light or something.
Right.
But I don't notice if they have wind or air infiltration tests. Like they don't have a little wind tunnel or anything. Seriously,
Right.
they don't have...
Yeah, you won't see that in the field. Those are things that you have to ask about, really. One of the windows that we represent, Soft Light Windows, has extremely great numbers. I mean, the amount of air leakage is ridiculously low.
Does the U factor take into consideration air leakage?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, it just takes into consideration the overall efficiency of the energy efficiency.
Right.
Now,
Resistance.
infiltration can come from two places: the assembly of the window and the installation.
Absolutely.
Most of it comes from the installation.
Right.
If you do that wrong. So
the window has to be sized correctly, first and foremost.
Yes, that's for
So
sure.
So you don't have big gaps around it.
Right.
And then you want to put some foam insulation around the window to make sure that whatever gaps there are. Now, sometimes there really isn't a lot of room to put a lot of insulation in there, but
and not to get the windows to rattle, and to make a secure installation, there's not a controversy, but a discussion as to how they're installed. Do you install them at the frame, or do they have these fins? What are they called?
Nailing fins?
What's that?
Nailing fins.
Right, nailing. Do you like nailing fins?
Well, nailing fins are generally used on new construction.
Okay, so on replacement, what's the best kind of attachment?
Well, we usually attach, it depends on the condition that we're looking at. So we'll attach either through the drywall, or in some cases we'll attach...
But is it through the rail itself, or is it a flap, or is it an extra appendage?
We don't usually use the nailing fin.
You go right to the frame?
To the frame, yeah.
Okay, we have more coming right up.
This is Denver's talk station, 630 KHOW, an iHeart radio station.
It's not efficient. You know, there's some companies that use them.
Look at cut them off. Look at this.
No, you order without
the bankruptcy.
Oh, I see. This guy's got.
I mean, in new construction, you don't have the siding, you don't have the
I want to see
stuff
this
on
other
it.
thing.
Right. So otherwise, you got to trim all that stuff back
And then put it back.
Yeah.
I've got to come off.
Yeah.
I always see the problems.
Well, what I'm trying to find is, I thought she sent the transfer of the assets.
Such as what?
So there is
I
transfer.
can see online. I just don't
I thought I saw this
issues.
somewhere.
It always seems
It's
to
on
be
the
a
other
wood window.
email.
Okay, where?
No, wood windows, you know, they require so much
First
maintenance.
email.
You got to paint them. You got to.
Oh, I got so many fucking
So if you
emails.
don't take
I'll-
care of
I'll-
them, the average
Oh,
bill
I got it. BK,
Right, they work.
property
Yeah.
disclosure, petition, it's gotta be this.
Because I don't
Okay.
seem to see.
So,
just a.
no, these are like the fucking same. Where is it?
This deed
There
here.
are a lot.
Okay, where is it?
Right here, all
Company
transferring
turns out-
half
Yeah, but what's
Company
the
that
subject?
did
What's it
the,
say on the email? How do I find it?
Oh,
It is, the vinyl has expansion contraction property.
They're all the same.
So
Where
when
it
it gets warm, it expands.
it's got 3 attachments on there.
It's cold, it contracts, so you gotta be a little bit careful with that.
So
The
they
window is
sold
darker,
this to
it's gonna
them.
have more expansion and contraction.
She gave a timeline. Tom's got the timeline. I'm gonna give it to you.
I looked whenever we've done anything before we did the remodel.
Here's the
We
timeline,
didn't size
so you
all
don't have to go through it
because
all.
you can go down anywhere and buy windows that were this size.
Right. Yeah, we have a blown out of windows.
Yeah, and then we just make our whole that window.
If you can do that, if you have that luxury,
Yeah.
that's great. But
This
what
is
we
gonna-
do
this
most
is
of
their
the time
second
is,
house.
we go in,
Like,
there's
Yeah,
a
primary residence in
an
Denver.
opening that's a certain size, and then we need to size it to fit the opening.
I understand that. That's, we always did. Whenever
And
we
then
built something
how do
new
you
or done
take
something,
this?
we always did it that way.
and
Same
just-
ton. Same with
When
doors.
you list anything that was
The doors that you have to add
anything
the
sold,
added complication of the jam depth.
Yeah.
You know, so we have 2x4
remember,
framing or 2x6
It was
framing.
within 2 years.
within 2 years, if I sold my house,
Right.
do I list that?
2x10, 2x12.
I assume you have to.
Now, starting in, I think it was 2011.
Now here, I don't think it says in there what they gave us.
They were asking about.
Is that what it said?
Hiram was asking about assisted
For
living.
$10?
Do we have an exclusive?
Yeah. Well, no, we don't. I've got a message in her. I need to talk to her about some stuff. But that's why I haven't got back to her.
What about this bankruptcy did you want me to see?
I was just, if you sell something, do you have to list it too, and it's just transferred?
Yep.
Okay. So if we just happen to sell our house,
So you
Yeah,
said
they want to know what happened to the money and where it went.
There's typically a look back period.
Yep. And in fact, you know what they did to me? They went back 10 years. Do you want to know why? Just because they wanted to. 10 years. So I had to show every bit of money. Now this, listen to what I mean. If I wrote a check, Mark, over $200 for anything to anyone, I had to list it.
yeah.
Now, do you know what? If my wife went shopping and I wrote a check, they want to know what it was. They would literally list everything over $200, and initially, every single thing they call fraudulent transfer, and then you have to prove what it was.
And the person who receives it, a lot
That's
of
how
times you gotta
hard.
give the money back.
So you said it's $10 listed on there?
Mark, if you contributed to your church, listen to this. They have sued churches
To claw it back.
to get it back.
Hey, that medical examiner, Colorado Springs, virtual.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. So, Mark, you asked me to look at a bankruptcy filing here. These people filed bankruptcy after transferring their home a few months earlier to their kids, and then claimed there were no transfers. So, what did you see of note? You said go over it. I looked at it.
No, I'm just curious more or less how it works. Like, if
Does
you
it
just
sound unfair to you?
No, if what went down, and I got to tell you, everything I'm reading, it looks like it went down. These guys got screwed.
Now, let me tell you what some people try to do, because people have tried everything. You're allowed to sell stuff. I mean, not everything done in the previous 2 years, and by state law, it's 4 years, not everything done is, federal says 2 years, is fraudulent. Sometimes it's real, like you really gave a gift to someone. You contributed to your church, but you know what? Doesn't matter. The trustee will go to your church and get the money back if it's a sizable donation. And if you sold something to someone, they will get it back. Or, in some cases, now if you paid market value, then they'll just want to know what happened to the money. Here's what some people have tried. They sell something, so now they have $100,000. Oh, that's not good, because in a bankruptcy, every dime you have goes into that pot for a settlement. People think there's just settlements for 13s. No. Everything you have that is not excluded, there are certain exclusions, work tools, certain amount of clothing, a certain amount of jewelry, a certain amount of transportation. Everything above that is paid into the bankruptcy. It's sold and paid in. So if you have $100,000, Mark, 6 months ago from a sale, a year ago, 2 years ago, some people say they get, this is why people want to track cash. This is why banks track cash and transactions. If you bought something, they want to know, what did you buy? And then they want to know, where's the asset? But some people think they're smart. And you know what they say? I went to Vegas and I blew it on a roulette table. And that's acceptable if it really happened. If you truly went and you said, you know what, if I don't win, I'm going to go bankrupt, so I'm going to take $100,000 and put it on one spin, and I'm either going to go bankrupt or not, that's totally acceptable if you really did it. But a lot of people don't really do it. They hide the money and then claim they did it. And Mark, aren't there
records in Vegas of bets and people and videos?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea with that kind of money. I mean, if you're talking a lot, I don't think so.
I don't know.
There's table limits.
Now, that'll get you in jail. So the other thing they do, and this is a popular one, it is so stupid, and they try it with divorces. They say, oh, my mother loaned me 2 years ago or 3 years ago $100,000. I have to pay her back. So wink, wink, they transfer the money to their mom as a paid-off debt.
What does this mean? List all other property other than property transferred in the ordinary course of business for the last 2 years. So that's what I'm struggling with.
Everything you own.
So why does it say other than property transferred in the ordinary course of business?
Well, that means this. In the ordinary course of business, if you sold something, if you're in business and sold something, you don't have to list it. It was sold.
Yeah, but we're talking just real property right now.
You're talking about real estate?
Well, I'm looking. This is actually on the BK where they checked, and it says...
Listen, I know all about
it. It's the transfers. I know you do, but it's just...
Basically what they want, Mark, is everything. They want every dime that you've transferred. They want everything that you've purchased. They want everything that you've sold and everything that you've transferred. Everything. You don't get to cheat. And it's... I have to tell you, they do a tremendous job on that front. And why should people cheat? I mean, they shouldn't. You should disclose everything. That's the whole thing. You should truly disclose it. And here's a funny thing about it. The system actually is pretty damn fair. It really is. It doesn't let cheaters file. Here's another thing. When there are assets in a bankruptcy, cheaters come forward and claim they were owed money. This is the only dark side of bankruptcy, and I'll tell you why. Because the trustee has a vested interest in collecting, even if it's not a real debt, because he gets a commission. So let's say some guy goes bankrupt with $500,000 in the bank, and he knows he has $500,000. He knows he's got to pay it in. Here's the thing. If you have some fraudulent guy coming and saying, I loaned him money a couple years ago, or I did work for him, or they say he owes me money because he cheated me, that you will find some trustees, even though they know it's not true, let that guy collect money. Do you know why? They'll let him collect money because they get a commission, and it's wrong. What they should do, and what they're supposed to do, is challenge all claims so only the legitimate creditors get paid. That's what they should do. Susan, how can we help you? What's going on, Susan?
Hi there. I have a cousin who's pretty much chronically homeless, and she's just gotten back in touch with me looking for help. And
Susan,
so
if she's chronically homeless, how old is she?
She's 56.
Well, that tells you there's nothing you can do. I mean, if something happened, a divorce, a death, something, and all of a sudden her life came crumbling down, or she was suddenly fired, I would have solutions. But if someone is chronically homeless, that means they have no skills of management, they have no skills of self-survival. You can't help them. That's not what you wanted to hear.
Or they have the skills and don't want to.
Or mental illness, Tom.
Oh, that's true too. Mental illness or addiction, true. Does she have mental illness or addiction?
She says no. I believe that it's been in the past, and maybe she still has it. She's missing almost all of her teeth.
Okay, that's meth. You can't. You can't help her. I mean, if anything, if you just want someone to talk to so you don't feel guilty, we're telling you, you can't help someone who's chronically...
Well, you can't change them. I'm not saying she can't help them.
Okay, that's true. But true help, no.
I paid for 2 weeks of motel, and I don't want to keep doing that.
What is her plan? I always ask someone, if I help you, what is your plan? Why will you not be back here again, and why will you not be asking other people for help? What will be different?
So what she's telling me is she's on a waiting list with the Action Center in Jefferson County, and she's like 3 weeks out from
What's
getting
the
into a
Action
program. I don't know. It's in Jefferson County. It's on 13th. I took her
I mean,
there.
what is it? Is it a shelter?
I guess they help place homeless people, and they can
Place
also
them
give
where?
vouchers in motels. They give like motel vouchers.
But what is her plan? I mean, why isn't she working?
Right.
Why? Did you ask, why are you not working? Even at McDonald's.
And she says because of medical issues.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just...
Is she on... Does she have Social Security disability?
No, she's trying to get that. She's on food stamps. So I was just trying to figure out... What
was your question for us, actually?
If there's a place where she can go for like 3 weeks while she's going through the process.
But you're buying into that story. You're buying into
Right.
that. It's always, remember, they always have short-term assistance needed because they want to give you an end to the assistance. So they'll say 3 weeks won't help her, but if no, I don't. I actually don't know of any, and I'm not being heartless. Okay. You heard us here. Right. We're helping a kid who really said he wants to help himself and he wants to break the cycle. If she calls us directly and I grill her kindly, we'll find out where the breakdown is. Most people in that situation don't want help. They want enabling. They really don't want help to change. Susan, I know you didn't wait to hear this, but I don't know what else to tell you. You are wasting your time and energy right now. Now, get 3 weeks, it's going to be, after that 3 weeks, it'll be something else. Because once she gets that voucher, what you really need to do is this. Okay, let's say I can get you to where you get the voucher. Okay, how long does that program last? And then what happens? What do you do? You know, so she can't work for medical reasons. So that's ridiculous. I mean, is she totally disabled?
No, I don't believe she is.
What medical issues does she have?
Well, right now I just had to take her for a colonoscopy. She's had a mammogram. I believe she's got cancer.
Oh.
So
I mean, does she have cancer?
Yeah, she's had cancer previously, and I think it's back.
Now, why do you say that? Did she tell you that?
She believes it. I mean,
so she told you I have cancer?
Yes, which I know that from family because she's my cousin. But now I just took her last week for a colonoscopy. She's got to go for a mammogram. She has to go for another test, endoscopy.
All right, so listen. I wish I had some kind of, I don't know. I wish I had some kind of help to offer you. If anyone has any suggestions, please give us a call. I don't want to throw my hands up. But by the way, speaking of throw my hands up, we do have to take this break. It's very serious, because I'm over time. One thing I do want to tell you about, which is very important, is assisted living. Now, assisted living, the most wonderful homes are run by Golden Orchard. If you just go there, you'll find out all you need. Now, these openings are rare when they have vacancies. GoldenOrchard.com. This husband and wife team built these homes to be assisted living. They're not nursing homes. You live together in a beautiful big facility. You have outings, you have snacks, you have meals. Okay, 303-795-0784 to find out about and it's a one rent, pays for everything. Everything. They don't have separate fees. And all you have to do is call them and hope you can get in because they're beautiful. Built to be assisted living. 303-795-0784. Online, GoldenOrchard.com.
This report is brought.
So what are you telling me here? That transfer was done in 13? Mark, it was done in 2013?
Okay, there it is.
But why did they
For the sum of $10.
Well, why did she say it was done?
There's other, actually.
Look at this.
No, but it was recorded in January 13, 2015, Mark.
Okay, that's fine. Now scroll down further and look at the second page where it's March 2013, and then there they have 2014.
Because that's when, okay. So then it was recorded. Let's see when it was recorded.
Wait, is this even the right damn property? Yeah, Park County, Bum Drive.
Hold on. When was it recorded? When was it actually recorded? Oh, here's when it was recorded.
15. 1/13/15.
Yeah, that's what counts.
When did they file?
They filed in 16.
Maybe
Mark,
that's
Mark, do you understand?
maybe that's their
it's
argument.
It's a 4-year look back. It's 4 years.
Well, on what they signed in their bankruptcy, the petition is 2 years. It does not ask for 4.
You know, which is really hot.
And then it goes, this deed is made the 15th day of December. You know that's where they're going to stand on it. It might have not been filed till then.
Doesn't matter.
Well, it's weird, though. Do they have a notary?
Hey, well, how does it go back?
The notary says it was signed.
The notary is July 9th, 2014.
No, it's March 17th, 2014.
Oh, yeah, it's foregoing knowledge.
But here's the deal.
Wait a minute. Does that put him in the bankruptcy, though?
It doesn't matter when it was signed. It was transferred on the day of filing. That's when the transfer takes place, Mark, on the day of filing.
So do they sell it back for $10? Do they go one way and then the
You
other?
understand the filing takes place on the day.
Is that transfer back from?
So wait a minute. I don't know that either way.
Well, I do.
I'm not
That's
arguing.
why, because I went through it.
So when
I know
you
it. And I know it's 4 years, too. Even though you signed that, it's 4 years.
Well, I'm just telling you, it says 2.
Well, it's 4 years.
Do they go back to from the kids to the parents?
That's what they're going to argue, though. They're going to say,
Can you
hey,
get
we did
Gigi
this.
back on?
They're going to say, hey, we did this in 13.
Yeah, no, but that...
She should have a copy of this. Have her
I
have her
had a
look at it.
fucking rectal probe, and I will tell you that it is when it is filed.
It makes sense when it's filed. Otherwise, you can.
Otherwise, people could sign this shit and say, I'm going to keep this just...
Well, that's why he kept asking, was it filed?
Yeah, they could just post
That's exactly right.
backdate it anytime they want it.
Yeah, but if they have a notary on this and whether what's right or wrong, how's the trustee look at this?
In other words,
did
the
they
trustee
show?
looks at date of filing.
Okay,
that's what the trustee. Do you know why, Mark? Because it was done. It was signed.
I'm going to look at their petition
Mark,
again.
it was signed March 17, 2014. Now listen to this, right? March 2014. Why did they 9 months later file it? Why did they? Because they were going bankrupt.
Yeah, they could sign that and have a notary date it any time and just hang on to it.
The notary's not going to date
The
it.
petition
The
is.
date that it was.
I know. I know. I went through it.
So they literally filed the bankruptcy on 3/4
of what year?
3/2017.
Hi, Tom Martino, you're a troubleshooter. Welcome to the show. Listen, I know from personal experience, the date of transfer, I've done so much real estate, I can tell you, the date of transfer on real estate, whether it's bankruptcy purposes or any other purpose, it's the date it is filed. Now, there could be an argument made that if someone transferred something to you and you could not make it to the county, and before you could get there, they then do another transaction with someone else, and you were battling two unfiled petitions, that the predated petition would take precedent. However, when it comes to filing, it's filed.
You know what's funny? We looked at this. Listen to this, though. It's exactly what you're talking about, but they filed for bankruptcy on 3/2017.
Right.
This was notarized, not filed, notarized on the 17th of March, exactly 2 years later on the 14th. I guarantee this is where they're hanging their hat.
They're thinking it was when they signed it, not when they filed.
And the notary, actually, it almost looks like they tried to trick the notary, because the notary caught it, crossed off 13, and wrote in 2014, 7th day of March.
Now, Gigi Wink with Wink and Wink, another question for you. This is really important. This is really important. State law says, federal law says there's a 2-year look back, right?
Yes, on what needs to be reported. That's not the end of the story.
But
if there's actual fraud, Colorado, they can go back 4 years here.
Exactly.
In a bankruptcy case.
And so, even if you sign something saying there were no transfers in 2 years, this is what I don't understand. My bankruptcy said 4 years, yet, but let me make this clear, and this was a long time ago, and everything was up and up, but I will tell you, they also, and it was all business, it was 100% real estate, nothing personal, but here's what I want to say. They went back 10 years on me.
for intent. Here's what they said. They said, Mr. Martino, they said this to embarrass me. What would be wrong with going back 10 years? Do you have something to hide? And I said, no. And they said, this would be for intent, meaning that if there were a lot of systematic transfers, even though it's before the statute, it would show intent. So what I want to know is this. Mark said the disclosure they signed said, have you transferred anything in the last 2 years? Well, what if they transferred something 3 years ago? It's still a fraudulent transfer under state law.
That's right. And most.
But hold on. But they did. But did they commit fraud? If the disclosure says 2 years, why wouldn't the trustee put down 4 years?
It's the federal code only requires you to list the last 2 years. It's up to each individual trustee how they're going to proceed. And
but could they overlook something done 3 years ago if they wanted to, legally and ethically?
Yes, I guess. I mean, their job is they're basically a fiduciary to all the creditors in every case. So they have a responsibility if they know something to investigate it.
But Gigi, so what I want to know is, there was no question when I went through this, it was 4 years, no matter what. They never even discussed 2 years. Why is that? Why is it?
It's 2 years on the forms that you fill out. So I don't know.
But how would anybody know to say anything else?
It's a weird situation, but every trustee I go in front of will ask you under oath 4 years, and some ask 5.
Okay.
This warranty deed, real quick, Gigi.
Do you hear what she just said? They do ask for 4 years under oath.
Okay, Gigi, real quick. This warranty deed, though, was filled out on the 15th day of December, 2013. They had a notary sign it on the 17th day of March, 2014, and it was filed on 1/13/15.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, I think it's the day it was filed.
I know,
that's when the
Gigi, I know it's the day it's filed.
Yeah.
I know it's the day it's filed.
Yeah. So just based on that, what's going on here?
Now, intent to transfer is different than transfer. The actual transfer takes place on the date it's filed, and the reason I say that is with all the real estate I've done, if you have an unfiled document and you're battling someone else who talked the guy into transferring it to you, it goes by date of the document. But if it is filed, the date of filing takes precedent.
Arguing over priority.
We got to dig into this. This is a Scooby-Doo mystery.
Thank you, Gigi, winkandwink.com. They're great people. Listen, Paul, we did not forget about you. Suzanne, let's get Paul back, okay? And K&H, of course, Home Solutions. It's khwindows.com for the best, khwindows.com.
Hey, Michael Brown here. You know the iHeartRadio app is the...
But tell me that's not the... Not to see the 13, which would have put it on the exact same date they filled it out, not that it was filed.
And you have these asshole attorneys.
And I still think they tricked the fucking notary. For all we know, she did it on 2015.